Ready to tackle that building project? Start right. Start here at H&L Rapid True Value for building supplies. The time by H&L Rapid True Value is
Nationwide time, 5 o'clock.
From the Nationwide News Network, comprehensive, incisive, tough. This is Nationwide at 5.
Good afternoon, I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Robianne Williams.
In Nationwide News at this hour, the PNP has proposed a total election package that will cost the country approximately $90 billion.
But the party says it will not impose new taxes to fund it.
So between the organic revenue growth, between the existing envelope that exists in the budget, our commitments can be funded.
The JLP is proposing a child care grant for mothers attending Heart and a debt reset policy for students relying on the SLB.
The Jamaica Labour Party is not only going to expand the moratorium, which already exists, but we will institute the student loan debt reset.
1 man is dead and 8 others in custody following foiled Portland robbery.
SSL payouts to begin this week.
In news from the rest of the world, Organization of American States appeals for more funding and support to confront Haiti's deepening crisis of poverty.
Israel is facing fierce condemnation after a pair of strikes on a Gaza hospital killed 5 journalists.
In headline sports, 11 Jamaicans are in line to become Diamond League champions in Zurich this week, including one yet to book a spot to Tokyo.
And later in our broadcast, in the cover story at 5:35, the Jamaica Labour Party says it will cut the income tax rate to 15% if it wins the September 3 general election, while the PNP is proposing to move the income tax threshold to $3.5 million. Economists Keenan Faulkner and Dr. Damian King will join us to assess the party's tax proposals.
In public opinion at 6:26, we ask who was the best or worst speaker in Saturday's debate on social issues. Give us your comments by logging on to our Facebook page Nationwide News Network and by tweeting us at Nationwide Radio and message us on WhatsApp at 876-285-5693. You can also leave your comments on Instagram at Nationwide 90FM.
In the nation's business at 6:40, the JLP is promising an exemption of income tax for persons 65 years and over. We'll hear from the executive chair of the CCRP, Jean Laurie Chin, and former government senator Shireen Golden Campbell.
At 7, it's Inside the Ballot Box.
All these and more as we take you home on air on your mobile, Nationwide 90 FM, Nationwide Radio, JM.com, and on the Nationwide app. It's available on the Google Play and the App Store. This Monday afternoon, it's Monday, August 11, 2025.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
And now to the details. The opposition PNP's campaign promises would cost the country approximately $90 billion in revenue. That's based on an assessment of the cost of the total package of promises put forward in the party's major manifesto. It also covers the additional promise to raise the country's income tax threshold to $3.5 million. The PNP says it will implement the promises without being fiscally reckless and without imposing new taxes. Siobhan Campbell tells us more.
The PNP estimates its first phase of promises would cost the country $36 billion. Here's the party spokesperson on education, Damian Crawford, putting forward the figure.
All the things that we have put within our manifesto is below that $40 billion. Indeed, it's below $36 billion. We should have been 10% of the discretionary component.
The party at the time pledged to take that chunk of revenue from discretionary spending. It's not immediately clear if that $36 billion includes the $11 billion that the party says it will stop drawing down from the National Housing Trust. But added to the first raft of promises, the party is now pledging to raise the country's income tax threshold to $3.5 million. Based on estimates provided by former Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark, that would cost the country approximately $50 billion. This is how opposition spokesman on finance, Julian Robinson, explained how the PNP would go about funding the income tax threshold.
Yeah, well, we're currently in the middle of a budget year, and I would say the new fiscal year would start April 1st, and so the commitments that have been made would commence certainly in relation to the tax threshold at that time. We may make adjustments and we may have to do supplementary budgets in terms of how you move expenditures within the current band, as has been done in the past. So if you're moving monies from one ministry to another, you're required to do a supplementary budget. So that again is a decision that we would make once we get in. But that is a possibility because, as I've said, our priorities and the programs are certainly different from what exists with the current government.
The income tax threshold currently sits at $1.8 million. The JLP has promised to move it to $2 million over the next 2 years using a phased approach of $100,000 increments. Mr. Robinson pointed to natural increases in revenues and increased GDP growth over the next 3 years of approximately $140 billion based on the fiscal policy paper.
Now, our programs and our priorities are different from the JLP's programs and priorities. And as such, we are going to place the things that we consider to be critical to improving the quality of life of all Jamaicans at the forefront of our priorities. So between the organic revenue growth, between the existing envelope that exists in the budget, our commitments can be funded.
A check of the fiscal policy paper projects that over that period, despite the increases in revenues, the country is anticipated to run a fiscal deficit of $34 billion in 2026-27, $33 billion in 27-28, and nearly $6 billion in 28-29. To make up the shortfall, the government intends to borrow roughly $760 billion over the period. But PNP President Mark Golding sought to assure Jamaicans his party would not compromise critical programs as part of a reprioritization under a future PNP administration.
A false impression has been deliberately sowed by the government that we will discontinue all existing government programs and policies. That's absolute nonsense. We recognize that in the $360 billion envelope for programs, there's a vast array of programs. Some of them are long-standing and fundamental, such as the PATH program, which was started by the People's National Party and provides support for vulnerable children and vulnerable citizens. And we would never do anything to reduce that.
Siobhan Campbell for Nationwide News.
Meanwhile, opposition leader Mark Golding has repeatedly adjusted his position on the increase in the country's income tax threshold. Nationwide News has looked back on the timeline of the PNP's claims regarding their proposed increases. Mahiri Stewart tells us more.
The income tax threshold has become a potent electoral calling card. A promise to more than double the threshold was used to great effect by the then JLP opposition in 2016. In 2023, when the threshold stood at $1.5 million, Mr. Golding vowed to double it to $3 million if his party formed the next government. When grilled about the promise outside Gordon House in February that year, Mr. Golding told reporters the party had already worked out funding plans for the proposed increase.
I've already said that I think there's a justification for the threshold being increased. We had proposed it in my presentation to our annual conference that it should be increased to $3 million to adjust for the inflation that has transpired since 2016 and to preserve the value of the benefit of the threshold that was then imposed, plus a buffer for some future inflation, which is ongoing. We have our own plan as to how we'd finance this, but the government are in power and they need to say how they are going to finance it.
At the time, he criticized Prime Minister Andrew Holness for announcing what was dubbed 1.5 2.0. He said an explanation of the funding was necessary.
We need to hear from the government the parameters of how they propose to finance this, how they're going to fund it, when they plan to roll it out, and to what extent they're planning in terms of an increase. I thought the Prime Minister, having announced this on the campaign trail, there would have been something about it in the throne speech, but there was nothing.
During the closing of budget debates a year later, then Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clarke noted that the proposed funding arrangements had been dropped from the PNP's presentations. In 2025, those plans were again absent from the PNP's budget debate contributions. Finance Minister Fayval Williams used her maiden budget presentation to announce further increases in the threshold to $1.8 million, with a further phased increase to $2 million by 2027. When the question was put to the PNP president days after the budget debate, he informed journalists that the PNP's funding proposal was under review. He went further to say that he felt the current planned increases were appropriate.
Well, it's under review. At this time, there have been some increases in the threshold, and we've seen the costings of it. Some of these things, when you don't have access to all of the information that the government has with the Ministry of Finance and literally a few thousand technocrats supporting their work. We don't have access to that. So we're anticipating further increases over time, but that's not part of the presentation that we made because it's already underway, and we are comfortable with that, but we'll keep it under review.
Mr. Golding has also suggested that an increase in the threshold to $3 million would not benefit enough Jamaicans.
I think that we're on a trajectory now that we will get to that target in due course. It's all subject to fiscal space being available. But I think the point to make is that I don't think that is the priority at this time, because you're talking about 200,000 people benefiting from that, whereas you have a lot of other people who do not benefit from that. And so if you're going to be doing tax relief and tax reforms, I think you have to balance that as well.
Mahiri Stewart for Nationwide News.
Meanwhile, economist Keenan Faulkner believes an increase in the income tax threshold to $3.5 million would not be feasible within the next 2 years. He came to the conclusion after analyzing the manifesto tax proposals put forward by both political parties.
Well, it doesn't appear that it is feasible within the next 2 years, given the extent of the fiscal deficit that we are projected to run at almost 1% of GDP for the next 2 years. So I don't expect that implementation can begin until at least 2 years from now, and perhaps will not be completed for another 2 years after that. That seems the most practical way to be able to absorb all of those increases without levying any further taxes on the Jamaican people, as the PNP and the JLP have both indicated that they will not be.
Mr. Faulkner says a future government must focus on widening the tax base to fund any proposals for increasing the income tax threshold. He says this can be done through augmenting capital expenditure and supporting more growth-inducing projects. The economist says this would have a greater impact on the country's economy in the long term.
As part of the reprioritization of expenditure, you would hope that welfare programs and social services are not cut extensively. More precisely, I think what the government, either party, when they form the next government, needs to focus on is augmenting capital expenditure and sufficiently executing that capital expenditure, which will then be able to drive revenue growth further than if you were to now focus on other areas of recurrent expenditure.
Keenan Faulkner, economist. He was speaking with Nationwide News today.
Chairman of the JLP's Manifesto Committee, Kamina Johnson-Smith, says the party's child care grant proposal is aimed at minimizing constraints faced by mothers trying to enter the workforce.
This is actually twinned together with a couple other proposals, a couple other commitments that are together. One is to establish a national childcare task force to really properly assess how it is that that childcare is offered across the country and how government can play a better role in not only ensuring within the early childhood framework that the best attention is paid to safety and quality and brain development, but also that availability and subsidization to encourage women to not look at childbirth as a constraint.
Kamina Johnson-Smith, she was speaking on Nationwide this morning on Monday. In its 2025 manifesto dubbed I Choose Jamaica the Next Chapter, the JLP pledged to introduce the Caring for Her Independence Learning and Development Care Grant. The grant will allow women with children born since the start of 2022 and who enroll in a HEART program to receive a monthly child care grant for the duration of the program. The party has not revealed the value of the grant, but Mrs. Johnson-Smith says the grant will be twinned with the JLP's commitment to also establish 28 Brain Builder centers island-wide. She says the grant will not affect any current benefits offered by the government to mothers enrolled at HEART.
Meanwhile, Mrs. Johnson-Smith says if the Jamaica Labour Party secures a third term in government, it will launch a debt reset policy at the Students' Loan Bureau.
The Jamaica Labour Party believes in our young people, and this is why we've already reduced interest rates at Student Loan Bureau. We've removed the requirement for guarantors, again taking away the barriers. And in our next term, we'll not only institute the new policy wherein students can have access to a loan which covers not only tuition, but accommodation, books, laptops, and food, living expenses. More importantly, of course, as we touch on the issue of debt, we know that our young people sometimes get thrown a curveball by life. That's why the Jamaica Labour Party is not only going to expand the moratorium which already exists, but we will institute the student loan debt reset.
Kamina Johnson-Smith.
In the race to 32, facts matter.
Did you know that Portia Simpson Miller holds the record for the most votes ever received by a single candidate in a general election? Yes, that's a fact. In the 1989 general election, where Michael Manley's PNP wiped out Eddie Seaga's JLP, the then Portia Simpson received a vote tally higher than any candidate before or since. Of the 19,562 ballots cast in Southwest St. Andrew, Portia Simpson received an astonishing number, 18,577. Her total represented 97.9% of all ballots cast, while her rival, the JLP's Royland Williams, could only muster 396 votes, a mere 2%. Indeed, there were more rejected ballots, 589, than the total counted for Royland Williams.
This nationwide Did You Know fact is part of our coverage for the race to 32 as we preview the next general election.
You're listening to the news on Nationwide at 5. We'll have more after these.
It's IQ Optical's sizzling summer sale. For this month only, get 50% off lenses when you purchase a frame. Kids get free lenses with a purchase of a frame. Make the intelligent choice with IQ Optical. Conditions apply. The time by IQ Optical is
17 minutes after 5.
Rentokil Initial offers air purification solutions with triple filtration and unique auto-sensing capabilities that neutralizes malodor and replaces it with clean air. Call Rentokil Initial at 926-4236 for more details.
The temperature by Rentokil is
31 degrees Celsius in Kingston and Montego Bay.
If a hurricane mash up your house tomorrow, would your insurance fully cover it? Many Jamaicans are underinsured and don't even know it. One hurricane, and they could be paying millions out of pocket. BCIC's free property valuation tool is here to help everyone update their home's rebuilding cost. Plus, when you update your sum insured with BCIC, you'll get $5 million in free contents insurance and up to 12 months to pay. Visit bciconline.com.
Looking for superior quality transportation from an international award-winning provider? Well, look no further. Choose Island Car Rentals, Jamaica's leading car rental company, setting the standard for ground transportation in Jamaica. For over 50 years, Island Car Rentals has been your trusted partner for reliable, top-quality vehicles. But we're more than just a car rental company. Need an airport transfer at any hour? Heading out of town and want to travel in style with a private chauffeur? Need a truck to rent for business or personal use? Or maybe you need a customized shuttle or tour for a large or a small group? Whatever your transportation need, Island Car Rentals has you covered. Call us today at 876-926-8012 or 876-929-5875 or visit www.islandcarrentals.com to book your next trip. Because Island people take better care of you.
Continuing the news, one man was killed and 8 others taken into custody following an attempted robbery at a Western Union branch in Hope Bay, Portland this morning. The attempted robbers were reportedly caught off guard when a licensed firearm holder opened fire, thwarting the robbery. Robian Williams has the details.
The police report that around 2 a.m. the would-be robbers removed a door and cut through a grill at the back of the building. Commanding officer of the Portland Police Division, Deputy Superintendent Ainsley McCarthy, says the robbers were met with resistance from a licensed firearm holder at the branch.
Armed men broke into a business place. He challenged men, and during an exchange of gunfire, one man was hit. The police quickly arrived at the scene and took control of the area. The injured man was assisted to the Port Antonio Hospital, where he later succumbed to his injuries. The driver of a motor car suspected to be one of the vehicles used in the robbery was seized by the police and the driver taken into custody. Further investigation and operation led to the capture of 7 other persons and recovered a 9mm pistol and several rounds of ammunition.
The deceased has been identified as 23-year-old Orlando Beverly of a St. Andrew address. Another man was reportedly shot and injured. Among those now in custody are the mother and sister of one of the men implicated in the attempted robbery.
They were attempting to move this man from the parish. It is to be noted that none of the culprits are from Portland. They all have addresses in St. Andrew, Kingston, and St. Catherine.
Sources indicate that the same Western Union branch was robbed twice in 2024. DSP McCarthy has cautioned that Portland will not be a safe haven for criminals.
Let me make it clear, the Portland police will spare no resources in protecting the life and property of Portlanders. So the warning is clear. If your intentions are not good, do not come into the parish of Portland.
Robeanne Williams for Nationwide News.
This is a Nationwide Election Nugget.
Donald Burns Sangster is Jamaica's shortest-serving prime minister. As the country's second prime minister, he served for only 48 days between February 11 and April 11, 1967. Sangster, who also served as the country's deputy prime minister and finance minister, died in office after he took ill on March 18, 1967. While he lay in a coma in Canada, Queen Elizabeth II knighted him, making him Sir Donald Sangster. He died shortly thereafter. Sangster was succeeded by Hugh Shearer.
That was a Nationwide Election Nugget.
World in a Minute is brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose Assembly and Supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
The World in a Minute.
The Organization of American States, OAS, is appealing for more international funding and support to confront Haiti's deepening crisis of poverty, political instability, and gang violence. In a recent interview with AFP, OAS Secretary General Albert Ramdin stressed the need to rebuild trust after years of failed foreign interventions and wasted aid in the Caribbean nation. The OAS last week released a roadmap prioritizing security, noting that vast areas of Haiti, including most of the capital, remain under the control of armed gangs.
Israel is facing fierce condemnation after a pair of strikes on a Gaza hospital killed 5 journalists as well as medical workers and others on Monday. According to CNN, at least 20 people were killed and several others injured in the attack. The double tap hits killed journalists, health workers, and emergency response crews who had rushed to the scene after the initial attack. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has labeled the incident a tragic mishap.
World in a Minute was brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose Assembly and Supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
Recapping the top stories making nationwide news at this hour, the PNP has proposed a total election package that could cost the country approximately $90 billion.
But the party says it will not impose new taxes to fund it.
So between the organic revenue growth, between the existing envelope that exists in the budget, our commitments can be funded.
And the JLP is proposing a child care grant for mothers attending Heart and a debt reset policy for students relying on the SLB.
The
the Jamaica Labour Party is not only going to expand the moratorium which already exists, but we will institute the student loan debt reset.
1 man is dead and 8 others in custody following foiled Portland robbery.
I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Roby-Ann Williams.
Listeners, you can find the news on our website at nationwideradiojm.com and on the Nationwide app. It's available on the Google Play and the App Store. News next, the headlines at 6.
In Jamaica, your rights are protected by our Constitution. From the right to education to freedom of expression, every citizen deserves respect and dignity. But remember, with rights come responsibilities. Let's uplift and respect each other and stand against injustice. Together, we can make Jamaica a better place for ourselves and future generations. Know your rights. Embrace your responsibilities. This message was brought to you by the Ministry of Legal and Constitutional Affairs.
Registered voters, do you know where to vote on Election Day? To find out, you may call our toll-free number at 888-991-VOTE. That's 888-991-8683. Or visit our website at ecj.com.jm. Select Query Voters List and enter the required information. Free and fair elections. It's up to you. That was an important announcement from the Electoral Commission of Jamaica.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. 3 Jamaicans could be among the 5 Wonder Diamond League champions crowned on the first day of the 2-day finals at the Litzy Grande Stadium in Zurich on Wednesday. Olympic silver medalist Wayne Pinnock, Kerry McLeod and Virginia Campbell are all in the runnings for a diamond trophy and the top prize of US $50,000. Pinnock and McLeod are in the 6th, who will battle for the men's long jump crown along with Olympic and world champion Miltiadis Tenteglu of Greece. Campbell will be in the battle of 4 for the top 5. 4 of the top 5 finishers at the Olympic Games last year in the men's shot put final, including 2-time world champion and 3-time Diamond League winner Joe Kovac. Day 2 will see 8 more Jamaicans looking to be crowned Diamond League winners. Tia Clayton is the only one of the 8 yet to secure a spot at the World Championships in Japan and will be keen to win the women's 100 meters title to gain the wild card. She'll face the Olympic champion Julian Alfred, Dina Asher-Smith and Marie-Josée Talou of the Côte d'Ivoire. Romain Beckford goes on the men's high jump. Jordan Scott, the men's triple, where he's the leader. Shanika Ricketts will compete in the women's triple jump. Akira Nugent and Daniel Williams in the 100 meters hurdles. Orlando Bennett in the 110 meters hurdles and Akeem Blake in the men's 100 meters. Former champions Portmore United and Dunby Holden are goalless at sports time in the Ray and Nephew Jamaica Premier League encounter, the first game of a doubleheader at Stadium East. The St. Catherine Derby will be followed by Arnett Gardens against Racing FC in the final game of the first round, set to kick off at 7:30. The games will bring an end to round 1 of the new season. 3 teams scored victories on Sunday's opening day of the season. Chapelton Maroons, they beat Tivoli 2-1. Treasure beats topped Spanish Town Police FC 2-0. And Waterhouse tagged Malines United by 2-0. Among the scorers for Waterhouse was veteran striker Colorado Murray, who told Nationwide Sports that they will be seriously challenging for the title this season.
That's the exact thing that we desire, and the thing is that the first game, the best thing you can get is a win, which is 3 points, and then for me, on my debut again, I scored, so, thank God. That's the main goal right now, and for me and the club, I think that's the goal right now, to go beyond top 6, as in to win the championship. That's my goal, and the same thing with ours. Definitely the main. Definitely. I was in the final, my first year at Waterhouse against Cavaliers, and I think that one was, very sad. So this time I need to come here and win the championship.
Colorado Murray. Champions Liverpool and Newcastle produced another Premier League classic on Monday before the youngest player in the game decided the encounter to give the Reds a thrilling victory at St. James's Park. Rio Ngoma will be 17 years old on Friday, but he popped up 10 minutes into added time with nearly the last kick of the game as Liverpool won 3-2 on the Magpies, who played a large portion of the game with 10 players.
Gravenberg got room to take aim and completely catch Pope out. Well, Newcastle will wonder how. It's come totally out of nothing. Ekitike! He is lethal. The striker, long coveted, defended by Newcastle United, has pounced again in Liverpool red. Bruno Guimaraes! Hope rekindled for Newcastle. Basula in behind! Newcastle have a striker who can score! Salah plays it across the box line, leaves it. Ongamora! It's the stuff of teenage dreams! 3 days short of his 17th birthday on his Premier League debut, he comes off the bench and scores what's surely the winner for the champions.
This is Nationwide's World Championships Countdown.
Now, as the countdown to the World Athletics Championships in Tokyo continues, we shine the spotlight on Jamaica's podium sweep that lit up the women's 100 meters in Eugene in 2022, following a Jamaican sweep of the women's 100 meters podium at the Olympics in Tokyo a year earlier. The same trio headed to the World Championships in Oregon, looking to repeat the feat. At the Tokyo Games in 2021, Elaine Thompson-Herah won gold ahead of Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce and Shericka Jackson. Thompson-Herah was a convincing winner, setting an Olympic record 10:61. Fraser-Pryce second, 10:74. She just held off Jackson 10:76. While the trio was elated, the empty stadium due to the pandemic meant the sweep was only quietly celebrated in Tokyo. But the World Championships in Oregon gave athletes an opportunity to celebrate in front of a packed-out stadium. And for the Jamaican contingent, it was a chance to upset their U.S. rivals on home turf. The outcome in Oregon was another Jamaican sweep, but in a different order. All three women had progressed comfortably through to the rounds, earning lanes of 3, 4, and 6 for the championship final. Fraser-Pryce, 35 years old then, got a strong start and could not be caught. She earned her 10th World Championship medal. She won in a new championship record, 10.67 seconds. Jackson bagged silver, 10.73, and Thompson-Herah, 10.81. Following her across the line.
That was Nationwide's World Championship Countdown.
And that did for sports. We're going to be back with more at 6:05.
Sports at 5 was brought to you by Total Tools. Total Tools, every tool, every trade.
Cubby's Baby Wipes is ideal for your baby's delicate skin, infused with vitamin E and aloe vera, and available for home or on the go. The time by Cubby's Baby Wipes is
5:32.
From Kingston to the world, from Montego Bay to new adventures, and from Ocherias to endless possibilities. Wherever you're headed, we will proudly take you there. Jamaica's Airport, your global gateway. The temperature brought to you by the Airports Authority of Jamaica is
31 degrees Celsius here in the nation's capital, Kingston. It's the same in the second city, Montego Bay.
Outperform, outlast. With top performance. Jackama. Reliable, full stop, not comma. We have the expertise for drilling and demolition. We have the power tools for plumbers and electrician. Pan select tools, 3 parts and 3 repairs. 3 parts, 3 repairs. 2 to 3 years. Hilton, available at Delta Supply, 106 Hagley Park Road. Call us at 876-302-61124. Delta Supply, we service what we sell.
Stay ahead in your career with UWI-STAR, the short-term advancement resource center. Our programs are designed to support your professional growth. Join our community of professionals and take the next step in your career. Visit our website, www.mona.uwi.edu/short-courses to learn more about the continuing professional education programs of UWI-STAR.
The wait is over. Spark is coming to you. Across Jamaica, we'll be fixing 10 roads per constituency. Over 100 roads will be fixed by September and 630 roads overall. This is real action, real improvement, real results. Every Jamaican deserves safer, stronger roads. Spark, the next chapter in Jamaica's infrastructure development.
This
This message is brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
We are at the best point ever in agriculture in Jamaica. Very soon, we will have more than 50% of our irrigable arable lands irrigated. I had the great pleasure of breaking ground for the Hydro Plains project. The Essex Valley is underway, almost completed. And all of those projects are bringing more lands under irrigation. The Ministry of Agriculture has moved with great speed and alacrity in bringing lands under their agro park, under the agro invest strategy. There are lands available for persons who are interested in investing in agriculture to work on those lands. I had the pleasure of looking at the Parnassus Agro Park with farmers from all over Jamaica, including returning residents, putting in many acres of crops. We are at a good place. We must now expand and invest in our agriculture.
This message is brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
Remember to take your new voter ID card to the polling station on election day. You may still vote without your ID card, but the process will be faster if you have it with you. If you don't have your ID card, you must answer questions, be fingerprinted, and take an oath before you can vote. Bring your voter ID card and make it easier on yourself and others. That was a message from the Electoral Commission of Jamaica.
Enough power tool, big to small. Chakama figure dig the wall. Our Total Tools. Beat waka figure trim the lawn. We have everything a job demand. Total Tools. We rent them, sell them and fix them. Also give Total Tools a call. When I say home improvement, landscape construction, a Total Tools are your option. Home improvement, landscape construction, Total Tools are your option. Total Tools located at 102 Main Street, Ocho Rios, 34 Slibe Road, Kingston. And lots D6 Jacksaw, Sentence Bay. Call us today.
If a hurricane mash up your house tomorrow, would your insurance fully cover it? Many Jamaicans are underinsured and don't even know it. One hurricane and they could be paying millions out of pocket. BCIC's free property valuation tool is here to help everyone update their home's rebuilding cost. Plus, when you update your sum insured with BCIC, you'll get $5 million in free contents insurance and up to 12 months to pay. Visit bciconline.com.
Cover Story is brought to you by
Multilink. Roll with control. Use Multilink. Safe, fast, and accepted in more locations.
Multilink. Access every time, everywhere I go. Multilink. 24/7 access for me. It's just a win-win when we use Multilink. This card is Jamaican built, yeah. Fast and secure, you can use anywhere. Spend while supporting the economy.
Look for the Multilink logo on your card and benefit from Jamaica's largest debit payment network.
Multilink, 24/7 access for me.
What would I do without my Multilink?
This is the Race to 32, the battle for Jamaica House and the issues that matter. Your voice, your vote.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us here on Nationwide at 5 as we continue to look at the Race to 32. I'm Cliff Hughes.
And I'm Siobhan Campbell.
Well, the governing Jamaica Labour Party says it will cut income tax from 25% to 15% if it wins the September 3 general election. The proposal is among a raft of initiatives outlined in the party's lavish general election manifesto dubbed I Choose Jamaica, the next chapter.
The 110-page document was unveiled on Sunday during a mass rally in Sam Sharp Square, Montego Bay, St. James on Sunday. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness announced the intention to provide phased reductions in the country's personal income tax rate.
We were the party that delivered $1.5 million in the income tax threshold when the PNP said it couldn't be done. We have raised it to 1.7 million and we will increase it to 2 million over the next 2 years so that your take-home pay continues to rise. Over time, we will reduce the base rate of personal income tax from 25 to 15% on a phased basis and shift gradually from direct to indirect taxation, which will allow hard-working Jamaicans to keep more of their paycheck.
Dr. Andrew Holness, he also announced significant tax breaks for senior citizens. He reminded the country that the former PNP government scoffed at the JLP's intention to increase the income tax threshold, as you heard in that clip. However, the Prime Minister says the government must be cautious in its approach going forward to ensure balance and fairness.
In the meantime, Opposition Leader Mark Golding says the next PNP administration will move the income tax threshold to $3.5 million. He made that announcement at a PNP mass rally in Mandeville, Manchester on Sunday.
Now I hear the Labourites are talking about adjusting the rate of income tax, but that is going to benefit those who are very, very wealthy more than it will benefit those who are less wealthy, because the rate, once reduced for them, means that they will be paying less tax because they're earning more to begin with. We are going to deal with that matter in a way that benefits those who need it most. Under the PNP government that is to come, we will be increasing the tax threshold so that persons who currently pay tax at 25%, if they're earning up to $3.5 million a year, they will be paying tax at 0%. Under the next PNP government, we'll be raising the threshold to give them a tax-free income.
Mark Golding, the opposition leader and PNP president, he says the tax threshold could be raised even further if the economy performs well. Well, joining us to help us understand the numbers for you, our listeners or viewers, we have economist Keenan Faulkner. After the break, we'll be joined by the executive director of the Caribbean Policy Research Institute, Dr. Damon King. Well, good afternoon, Keenan.
Hi, good afternoon, Cliff. Good afternoon, Siobhan.
All right, I want you to put on your tutor, your lecturer's hat now to help the Jamaican people listening. Yes, what are the numbers they should factor in when they hear from the Prime Minister income tax base rate to be lowered from 25 to 15%, and from the opposition income tax threshold to be increased to $3.5 million. Help them to come to terms with how they should assess who is talking sense or nonsense.
Well, Cliff, just to put some numbers out there in terms of what we know to be true. So over the last, the increase in the threshold from 1.5 to 1.7, that cost $9 billion. 1.7 to 1.8 cost $4.8 billion. 1.8 to 1.9 cost $4.73 billion. 1.9 to 2.0 million cost $4.44 billion. So each band of 100,000, you basically more or less gives up $4 to $5 billion in revenue. And if you extrapolate that, all things being equal, then a 3.5 million threshold could potentially cost anywhere between 60 and 75 billion.
Wow.
So that is really what you would be looking at as a figure, but that doesn't really mean anything outside of now trying to determine what impact that has on tax revenues. What do we expect to collect, and more importantly, how will it be funded? And when you have an adjustment that is that significant, you're talking about tens of billions of dollars. Anything really beyond 20 to 30 billion is going to be something of a material adjustment. Because when you look at the next 2 fiscal years, when we are projected to run a deficit, 1% of GDP is approximately 40 billion. We're going to run a deficit of somewhere between 33 and 35 billion for the next 2 years. So, anything beyond that, right? It could be 70, it could be 30. The point is, it is now harder to fit that in any single year and does require a sort of phase adjustment over time.
That being said, Keenan, because many of our listeners obviously don't have this understanding of fiscal surplus, fiscal deficit. So on that basis, would you suggest then that the figure put forward by Julian Robinson of the existence of $140 billion in revenue to work with over the next 3 fiscal years is feasible?
Well, it is true that tax revenues will rise by $140 billion up to 2028-29. So conceivably you could phase it in over that period. I don't think that any phasing in will start over the next 2 fiscal years, because I don't think you want to worsen your fiscal position to the point where you now exceed your fiscal balance target, which is currently negative 1.3% of GDP. So that, I think, could be a practical way of going about it. Reprioritizing other expenditure, we now need to see what that will look like in actual terms. Because, what do you now begin to cut? I, believe that if you want to accommodate this sort of expenditure, you can't only rely on, the budget absorbing this magnitude of expenditure or revenue loss. If you put more money or you execute more efficiently on capital expenditure, then you can potentially offset any sort of revenue reduction that would come about from this adjustment.
But what am I hearing you say, Keenan? That the plan to move it to $3.5 million is going to be extremely difficult because the $60 billion at minimum that it will need is just not there right now.
Not right now. So I think, towards the end of a new 5-year parliamentary term might be the earliest that you can start to phase it in, and you probably do that over 2 or 3 years, and then that now moves into the next parliamentary term after 2030. Right now, in terms of maintaining fiscal credibility and sustainability, what that means, I know that is probably an abstraction. Persons are probably thinking that ought not to mean anything, but when you have these large singular adjustments over time, which is why I personally advocate for increasing the tax threshold in line with inflation yearly in order to preserve purchasing power, you'd have more minute adjustments that are manageable over time. So overall, maintaining that sort of credibility and sustainability in line with the fiscal targets under the fiscal responsibility framework. Both parties, I think they are committed to it if we take them at their word that they will not introduce any new taxes, or they will, in fact, also commit to reducing or removing other taxes, such as the asset tax, such as the 11 billion drawdown from NHT.
But Keenan, I have to get you to respond to what we heard from the government. Their tax headliner is move down from 25% to 15%, yes, the personal income tax rate. But they used words such as deliberate, over the term of the parliament. They didn't give us a definitive timeline.
No timeline was given. They said as was possible through the revenues.
In other words, leaving the door open to say, no, we can't do it. What do you make of that plan, that intent?
Right. To put PAYE into context now, the PAYE collected in the year, fiscal year 2024-2025 was around 147 billion. So the JLP's plan, the government's plan to now reduce it over time, necessarily had to be complemented by expanding the tax base, which they say is their plan. And that goes back to industrial expansion, economic diversification, and getting the sort of higher value jobs or more people who are employed in that sort of formal employment. Because I don't think it would have been possible now to propose reducing income tax PAYE without that complementary measure. That is really what effectively mitigates the risk on that side.
We're up on a break, Keenan, but I want, because I understand we have to dismiss you after this, but I would like to ask you, because we're speaking to this in almost vacuum context, but remember, there are other raft of proposals that have been put forward alongside this matter of adjusting the income tax threshold, which the opposition has costed at roughly $36 billion. Do you see that being feasible alongside any proposed increase in the threshold?
Well, the opposition has spoken to discretionary expenditure, and just to clarify that for the public's benefit, anything outside of wages and salaries, pensions, and interest costs on debt are considered discretionary. So the reference to $360 billion that the opposition says it can play around with is something that they can choose to reallocate whichever way they wish in order to facilitate those items of expenditure. So there is no other way, as far as I can see, with the current fiscal dynamics, unless you plan to raise new revenue or taxes or to borrow, you are really effectively left with only shifting around the money that's already there.
Thank you very much, economist Keenan Faulkner. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Good. After the break, Dr. Damien King.
Clear your barrels and personal shipments with ease and convenience. Request a customs contactless clearance today through CCP at jca.gov.jm. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is
10 minutes to 6.
Bird Shack Fried Chicken Summer Vibes Promotion. Spend $1,000 or more at any store this August and win weekly prizes of JBL speakers or earbuds, plus a grand prize of a 50-inch smart TV. Bird Shack Fried Chicken.
The temperature brought to you by Bird Shack Fried Chicken is...
It's 32 degrees Celsius here in the capital city, Kingston, and 31 out west in Montego Bay.
GPS! Keep it cool, keep it cool. Summertime hot, but we have all the tools. Keep it cool. Enough ways to see it, you just have to choose. Stay out of the fridge, just use a igloo. Remember your Kisco ice handy juice. If an AC combo, yeah, I hit that. AC for a bit, then a fan after that. Keep it cool. This summer JPS have all the tools. Keep you cool with JPS. Download the JPS app today.
Multi-link, access every time, everywhere I go. Multi-link, 24/7 access for me. It's just a win-win when we use multi-link. This card is Jamaican built, yeah. Fast and secure, you can use anywhere. Spend while supporting the economy.
Look for the Multilink logo on your card and benefit from Jamaica's largest debit payment network.
Multi-link, 24/7 access for me. What would I do without my Multi-link?
Welcome back, listeners and viewers, to the cover story. We're talking manifesto promises, specifically taxes and thresholds and income tax rates. We have with us now economist and executive director of the Caribbean Policy Research Institute, Capri, Dr. Damien King. Good afternoon, Dr. King.
Good afternoon.
So, Dr. King, you would have heard what was discussed there by Keenan, as well as the proposals put forward.
No, I didn't hear that previous discussion.
Okay, well, you've heard the proposals put forward by the opposition as well as the government in terms of their separate ideas for where the income tax threshold should be and income tax rate adjustments. I know you've been a proponent for making adjustments to the income tax threshold due to changes in inflation and productivity and other concerns. What do you weigh in terms of the benefits and disadvantages to the two separate proposals? Increasing the threshold outright to 3.5 or reducing the income tax rate over a period of time?
Okay, let us first start with what the considerations should be. Income tax has the advantage of allowing you to make it progressive, for it to be a tiered structure, which we already have, because below the threshold, the rate is 0.
Yes.
And above the threshold, it is 25, and still above that, 30%. So income tax does have that advantage. The disadvantage of income tax in the Jamaican context is that so few working people pay it. The labor force survey records twice as many persons employed as are on the income tax thresholds of the income tax rolls of tax administration. So half of income earners are not even on the income tax rolls, have no footprint, not paying anything. So what that tells you is that there is this huge horizontal inequity between who's paying and who is not paying, not based on the income you're earning, but just based on whether you're compliant or not.
Yes.
Based on whether you're on PAYE. And the reason why that is relevant is because it tells you whether we should be relying on income tax at all because of its horizontal unfairness. So in that context, what is the best way to shift away from income tax and towards our value-added tax, which is what GCT is?
Yes.
Which is more broad-based and much harder to evade. You know, if you buy a bond, you know, you're paying it. You're paying a tiny amount of it. So what raising the threshold does is it eliminates, you know, more people from being obliged to pay the tax. The problem with that is that only 15% of those on PAYE are above the threshold. So when you raise the threshold, you are affecting a really tiny number of persons. 85% of them are below the threshold, and another half of them are not even on, as I said before, not even compliant. So you're really affecting 7% of the labor force, of the employed labor force.
So in other words,
whereas if you lower the rate, then you're keeping all of those people as income taxpayers and having basically all of them. Still not a lot of people, but you're having all of them paying some taxes. So it's two ways of moving away from a reliance on income taxes, which, because of the horizontal inequity, is something that we should be doing.
Yes.
But it's two different ways of doing it.
And I think that proposal is clear in both manifestos, or both promises, so to speak. But what is the most efficient way to do it? Just eliminating the threshold in one go to 3.5, or going with this steady reduction as time and resources allow, down to 15% and maybe even further as time goes on?
Well, in both cases, it is going to be and ought to be as time goes on. You know, neither of the political parties are going to implement it at a rate that leads us towards fiscal deficits and back to, you know, rising public debt. But my purpose here is to explain the consequences of both so that people can make their own determination. Do you want a smaller number of people, an even smaller number of people paying income tax? Or do you want a larger number paying a lower tax? As long as you're, in either case, you are giving up revenue, which you're going to have to get back some other way. But, you know, it's up to what people prefer.
Based on the theory of economics and our economy, which is the more efficient route?
When you balance all the...
Let him answer.
Given the horizontal inequity, it is more efficient to get more people off of the income tax rolls entirely, because that minimizes the horizontal inequity. That minimizes the likelihood that myself and another person earning the same income are you know, one person paying taxes and the other person not paying taxes at all. So if your objective is to minimize that unfairness, then you want to raise the threshold.
Okay. And in terms of the voter looking on, the citizen looking on, yes, whenever you give up tax, you have to find it from somewhere else, don't you?
Right.
Yeah.
And that is the question. That is the question that both parties have to answer. Okay? Nobody, nor the fiscal responsibility framework, allows us to run large fiscal deficits. Both parties have to say where the revenue is coming from. That determines the impact of what they are suggesting.
Mm-hmm.
And until that is offered, then there's no basis on which to make a decision.
Mm-hmm. So we should be asking them where the revenue is going to come from after they give up that which they're proposing.
Very much so.
And Damian King, in terms of, as I was going to ask, the balance of things, which one has the greater impact in the short term on the government's coffers, the government's revenues, in terms of immediately raising the threshold to 3.5 or phasing in a 10 percentage point reduction over a period of time?
Well, the answer to that is going to depend on what is the rate at which they phase it in. So that is not really the important question. Once it's a balanced budget adjustment, then it doesn't really matter. The important thing is that the government does not go back running fiscal deficits and running up debt. We have seen the consequences for our country of having a high public debt, of running a fiscal imbalance. Once it's a balanced budget adjustment, then the question of which one costs more is not really relevant because it's financed.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Damian King, economist and Executive Director of the Caribbean Policy Research Institute, CAPRI. Thank you so much. That's a cover story. The headlines are next.
Cover Story was brought to you by
Multilink. Roll with control. Use Multilink. Safe, fast, and accepted in more locations.
The time brought to you by Guardian Life. Live secure, live easy is
6:01.
Nationwide headlines at 6.
Good evening with the headlines at 6. I'm Shalois Michael. Economist Keenan Faulkner believes an increase in the income tax threshold to $3.5 million would not be feasible within the next 2 years. He came to the conclusion after analyzing the manifesto tax proposals put forward by both major political parties.
Well, it doesn't appear that it is feasible within the next 2 years, given the extent of the fiscal deficit that we are projected to run at almost 1% of GDP for the next 2 years. So I don't expect that implementation can begin until at least 2 years from now, and perhaps will not be completed for another 2 to 3 years after that. That seems the most practical way to be able to absorb all of those increases without levying any further taxes on the Jamaican people, as the PNP and the JLP have both indicated that they will not do.
Mr. Faulkner says a future administration must focus on widening the tax base to fund any proposals for increasing the income tax threshold. He says this can be done through augmenting capital expenditure and supporting more growth-inducing projects. The economist says this would have a greater impact on the country's economy in the long term.
As part of the reprioritization of expenditure, you would hope that welfare programs and social services are not cut extensively. More precisely, I think what the government, either party, when they form the next government, needs to focus on is augmenting capital expenditure and sufficiently executing that capital expenditure, which will then be able to drive revenue growth further than if you were to now focus on other areas of recurrent expenditure.
Keenan Faulkner, economist. Chairman of the JLP's Manifesto Committee, Kamina Johnson-Smith, says the party's child care grant proposal is aimed at minimizing constraints faced by mothers trying to enter the workforce.
This is actually twinned together with a couple other proposals, a couple other commitments that are together. One is to establish a national childcare task force to really properly assess how it is that that childcare is offered across the country and how government can play a better role in not only ensuring within the early childhood framework that the best attention is paid to safety and quality and brain development, but also that availability and subsidization to encourage women to not look at childbirth as a constraint.
In its 2025 manifesto dubbed I Choose Jamaica the Next Chapter, the JLP pledged to introduce the Caring for Her Independence Learning and Development Care Grant. The grant will allow women with children born since the start of 2022 and who enroll in a HEART program to receive a monthly childcare grant for the duration of the program. Meanwhile, Mrs. Johnson-Smith says if the JLP secures a third term in government, it will launch a debt reset policy at the Students' Loan Bureau.
The Jamaica Labour Party believes in our young people, and this is why we've already reduced interest rates at Student Loan Bureau. We've removed the requirement for guarantors, again taking away the barriers. And in our next term, we'll not only institute the new policy wherein students can have access to a loan which covers not only tuition, but accommodation, books, laptops, and food, living expenses. More importantly, of course, as we touch on the issue of debt, we know that our young people sometimes get thrown a curveball by life. That's why the Jamaica Labour Party is not only going to expand the moratorium which already exists, but we will institute the student loan debt reset.
Johnson-Smith says the policy will include a 100% waiver for delinquent accounts. She says accounts in good standing will also be credited with $100,000.
Under that policy, we will be waiving for all delinquent accounts 100% of penalties, 100% of insurance charges, and 50% of interest arrears, ensuring a fresh start for those who just have had life take a wrong turn. For those who are in good standing, they'll be rewarded for their responsibility and, of course, encouraged to continue in their good efforts. And they will get a credit to their account of $100,000 per account in good standing. Those who, of course, are at the cusp of closing out their accounts, we will pay up to the amount required to close.
Kamina Johnson-Smith, chairman of the JLP's Manifesto Committee. One man was killed and 8 others taken into custody following an attempted robbery at a Western Union branch in Hope Bay, Portland on Monday morning. The attempted robbers were reportedly caught off guard when a licensed firearm holder opened fire, thwarting the robbery. Deputy Superintendent Ainsley McCarthy is the commanding officer of the Portland Police Division.
Armed men broke into a business place. He challenged men, and during an exchange of gunfire, one man was hit. The police quickly arrived at the scene and took control of the area. The injured man was assisted to the Port Antonio Hospital, where he later succumbed to his injuries. The driver of a motor car suspected to be one of the vehicles used in the robbery was seized by the police and the driver taken into custody. Further investigations and operation led to the capture of 7 other persons and recovered a 9mm pistol and several rounds of ammunition.
The deceased has been identified as a 23-year-old Orlando Beverly of King Western District in St. Andrew. Another man was reportedly shot and injured. Among those now in custody are the mother and sister of one of the men implicated in the attempted robbery.
They were attempting to move this man from the parish. It is to be noted that none of the culprits are from Portland. They all have addresses in St. Andrew, Kingston, and St. Catherine.
Deputy Superintendent Ainsley McCarthy, commanding officer of the Portland Police Division. Those were the headlines at 6. I'm Shaloy Smykel. Sports is next.
The 2025 bird shooting season will run from Saturday, August 23 to Sunday, September 28, 2025. Only the Zanada dove, white-winged dove, mourning dove, and the white-crowned pigeon may be hunted. Hunting sessions are sunrise to 9 a.m. and 2:30 p.m. to sunset on Saturdays, and from sunrise to 9 a.m. on Sundays. Only 20 birds may be shot during a session, and no more than 15 should be white-crowned pigeons. The head of each bird must be retained on the body for inspection. A message from the National Environment and Planning Agency.
Want to reduce your high electricity bills? Then Peak Energy has the solution for you. From grid tied to hybrid solar inverters with full lithium-ion battery pack. Installation and maintenance packages available. Visit us at Shop 1, 3 Mosquito Valley Road, Red Hill, St. Andrew. Call 876-279-8820 or 944-0668. Or email us at peakenergysolutionsja@gmail.com. Peak Energy for everything solar.
Paying bills just got easier. With Evolve Bill Pay, the new bill payment service by Supreme Ventures, you can settle your light, water, telephone, and internet bills at over 180 Supreme Ventures locations island-wide, right where you live and shop. Pay, play, and go with Evolve Bill Pay. Evolve Bill Pay. Fast, easy, right round the corner.
Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, is a financial reporting firm that delivers accounting and compliance services on time. Call us today at 876-908-0486-7. Email us at clientservices@cocnjamaica.com or visit our website at www.cocnjamaica.com. COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
Home is closer than you think when you save towards your dream home with the Homeowners Savings Plan, or HOSP, from CIBC Caribbean. With HOSP, you unlock preferential interest rates to earn more interest on your savings and pay less with a discounted mortgage rate. You can even borrow up to an additional US $5,000 or its equivalent to help you with your closing costs. Get home faster when you save the HOSP way with CIBC.
We are the best at what we do. At Hose Assembly and Supply Limited, we supply hose fittings and tools. We guarantee we can't be beaten when price and quality are combined. You brand us the Hose and Tool Boss because we deliver the most effective industrial solutions. Come in and experience the joy of shopping with Hose Assembly and Supply Limited. Call us 876-923-3936 or visit 173 Hagley Park Road, 2 Charles Birth Crescent, or Montego Bay Trade Center. Hose Assembly and Supply Limited. More than just hoses. Now open every Sunday.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. It's halftime in the St. Catherine Derby between Portmore United and Dunby Holding at Stadium East. It's in the Ray and Nephew Jamaica Premier League, and it's goalless at the minute. So the game is at the halftime break, and it's 0-0 between Portmore United and Dunby Holding. The St. Catherine Derby will be followed by Arnott Gardens against the Racing FC, and the final game of the opening round of the new season. That game this evening set to kick off at 7:30, and the games will bring an end to the round one. 3 teams scored victories on Sunday's opening day of the season: Chapelton Maroons, Treasure Beach, and Waterhouse. Among the scorers for Waterhouse in their 2-0 win over Malines United was veteran striker Colorado Murray, who told Nationwide Sports that they will be seriously challenging for the title this season.
That's the exact thing that we desire, and the thing is that the first game, the best thing you can get is a win, which is 3 points, and then for me, on my debut again, I scored, so, thank God. That's the main goal right now, and for me and the club, I think that's the goal right now, to go beyond top 6, as in to win the championship. That's my goal, and the same thing with Waterhouse. Definitely the main, definitely. I was in the final, my first year at Waterhouse against Cavaliers, and I think that one was, very sad. So this time I need to come here and win the championship.
That's Colorado Murray. And just to answer to Mikael in our YouTube space, he's asking if there's a live stream for the games this season. Well, the PFGL promised that at some point we'll have live free-to-air and also a live streaming for it. They did also say there's no live streaming or free-to-air for the first round of games, but going forward they expect at the very least the third round to have it. So I hope that answers your question Mickwell. All right, champions Liverpool and Newcastle United produced another Premier League classic on Monday before the youngest player in the game decided the encounter to give the Reds a thrilling victory at St James's Park. Rio Ngoma, who will be 17 years old on Friday, popped up 10 minutes into added time with nearly the last kick of the game as Liverpool won 3-2 over the Magpies, who played a large portion of the game with 10 players.
Gravenberch got room to take aim and completely catch Pope out. Well, Newcastle will wonder how it's come totally out of nothing. Ekitike, he is lethal. The striker, long coveted by Newcastle United, has pounced again in Liverpool red. Bruno Guimaraes, hope rekindled for Newcastle. Basula in behind. Newcastle have a striker who can score. Salah plays it across the box line, leaves it. Ongamora! It's the stuff of teenage dreams. 3 days short of his 17th birthday on his Premier League debut, he comes off the bench and scores what's surely the winner for the champions.
Classic game over at St James's Park. Godfrey Smith, good day to you, sir. President of the Jamaica Football Federation, Michael Ricketts, is labeling the performance of the country's national under-14 girls team as very good, despite them bowing out of the Caribbean Football Union Challenge at the semi-final stage. With 4 of their regular starters missing due to a stomach bug, the Reggae Girls suffered a 2-0 defeat to eventual champions Puerto Rico.
I just think that our girls did very, very well. And we are now just hoping that they will continue to grow in the sport and continue to make the transition. I must use the opportunity to commend our coaching staff and our entire technical staff. They really would have done very well with our U14 girls. And like I've said, we were a little bit unfortunate that 4 of our regular starters, I don't know, they have suggested to me that it may have been the food.
Ricketts says FIFA's inclusion of Jamaica in their talent development scheme is bearing fruit in that it's assisting in the growth of the grassroots program.
Jamaica is part of a FIFA program, a FIFA project called the TDS, Talent Development Scheme, and we were selected amongst a few other Caribbean territories. That, I think, has helped tremendously to help our youth programs.
Michael Ricketts is president of the Jamaica Football Federation. 3 Jamaicans could be among the 5 Wanda Diamond League champions scheduled to be crowned on the first day of the 2-day finals at the Litzegrund Stadium in Zurich on Wednesday. Olympic silver medalist Wayne Pinnock, Kerry McLeod, and Olympic bronze medalist Rajinder Campbell are all in the runnings for a Diamond League trophy and the top prize of US $50,000. Pinnock and McLeod are in the 6-soul battle for the men's long jump crown, along with the Olympic and world champion Miltiadis Tenkloglu of Greece. Campbell will be in a battle of 4 of the top 5 finishers at the Paris Olympic Games last year, who will be contesting the men's shot put final, including 2-time world champ and 3-time Diamond League winner Joe Kovac. Day 2 will see 8 more Jamaicans looking to be crowned Diamond League champions. Tia Clayton is the only one of the 8 yet to secure a spot at the World Championships in Japan and will be keen to win the women's 100 meters title to gain the wild card. She'll face the Olympic champion Julian Alfred, Dina Asher-Smith, and Marie-Josée Chelou of the Côte d'Ivoire. Romain Beckford goes in the men's high jump. Jordan Scott, the men's triple jump, which is the leader. Shanika Ricketts in the women's triple jump. Akira Nugent and Daniel Williams in the 100 hurdles. Orlando Bennett in the 110 meters hurdles. And Akeem Blake in the men's 100 meters. Jamaica under-16s beat Norman Manley 35-21 in the final of the Netball Jamaica Development Youth Summer Invitational at the Stadium Courts on Sunday. In the third-place playoff, Jose Marti defeated last year's champions Denby 34-29. The under-16s also dominated most of the sectional awards. The top shooter went to Kaylin Kendra Smith. Ashley Kentish was named league MVP, while Brianna Allen picked up the Best Center Court Award. Jose Marti's Tamara Silburn dominated in the girls section, winning the Best Defensive Player Award. And finally in sports at this time, Peter Aldridge, coach of the Jamaican cyclist Khalil Francis, believes a podium finish is possible for the 18-year-old at the upcoming Caribbean Junior Cycling Championships in Barbados, August 28 to September 3.
To be able to win a medal in any event is just awesome. In any games is just awesome because, you know, it's a lot of countries that is participating. So it's really, it would be a good look, you know, for him to go there and get on that podium.
Francis warmed up for the upcoming championships with an emphatic victory over the weekend at the Chocolate City Criterium in Washington, D.C. He won the men's under-20 event in 52 minutes. Aldred explained that Francis's preparation has gone well leading up to the championships.
He has been fairly well prepared for this championship. Not only did he won the DC Chocolate City race, but he won the Chicago Brits, which is 10 days of racing. And as the youngest rider in Category 3, he won the Omnium, which is the rider with the most points. He also won the Jersey State Championship, Florida State Championship in the junior category. So he has been on the circuit, getting the exposure, gathering his confidence.
Fanatic. Well, that will pretty much do it, and that's Peter Aldrich closing out the sports for this evening. We're going to have Sports Next tomorrow during the morning news package.
For all your scales and food processing equipment, call Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited at 876-968-9612-5. The time by Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited is...
It's 6:19. Before I go, let me just respond to Xavier Stubbs. He's asking why we're giving update on Wayne Pinnock as Jamaican. He is Jamaican. He is not yet transitioned to being a Turkey citizen. So yes, he has applied for citizenship, but he will not get there until a period of time. So at the minute, it's correct to address him as Jamaica's Wayne Pinnock, all right?
The following is a paid announcement by the Jamaica Labour Party.
Hello, this is Darrell Vaz. Jamaica's next energy contract cannot be the same as a bad 20-year-old deal negotiated by the PNP in 2001 and 2016. This minister and the Jamaica Labour Party administration now has the first opportunity available for us to renegotiate a reduction in your bills, and we will get it done. Do not allow the same PNP politicians to again negotiate on your behalf. On September 3rd, put your X beside the bell and choose Jamaica. Vote for the Jamaica Labour Party.
The proceeding was a paid announcement by the Jamaica Labour Party.
Want to save money and still protect your engine? Get Chevron Supreme Sin Blend Motor Oil, the blue bottle with a silver stripe. Now upgraded to synthetic blend, so your engine runs cleaner, longer, and stronger. Now available island-wide at service stations and leading auto parts stores. Ask for Chevron Motor Oil, your favorite blue bottle with a silver stripe. That's Chevron Sin Blend, your engine good friend.
Still sweating with that old fan? It's time to upgrade! Meet Glacier, the AC unit that thinks for you. Energy efficient to slash your power bill. Wi-Fi enabled so you can control it from your phone. And self-cleaning because you've got better things to do. Powerful, smart, hassle-free. Call now at 876-923-6521-3. Gaddy's Refrigeration Limited, delivering the perfect cooling solution tailored to your needs.
Is your money idling when it could be thriving? With CIBC Caribbean's fixed deposit offering, you can take charge of your cash. With 50,000 Jamaican to start, choose terms from 30 days to 2 years. Lock in your funds and enjoy premium rates guaranteed to grow your wealth. Whether you're eyeing short or long-term gains, our fixed deposit accounts puts you firmly in control of your money. Now is the time to open a CIBC fixed deposit account and start earning more today. CIBC, ambitions made real.
Spring into style with Unique Living. Upgrade your home with our extensive range of products. Get sleek shower panels, stylish vanities, LED and non-LED mirrors, plus kitchen sinks, closet solutions, ceiling fans, and more. Available in various finishes and sizes. Visit shop number 6, 30 Dunrobin Avenue, Kingston 10. Call 876-755-3661 or visit our website at www.uniquelivingja.com. Don't wait to spring into style with Unique Living.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Good evening, and welcome to Public Opinion. I'm Roby Ann Williams. A special good evening to our friends over on our YouTube platform. Thank you so much for tuning in. We ask you to weigh in live in the comment section on today's Public Opinion. It's a Monday evening, a very, very happy one to our listeners or viewers. So over the weekend, on Saturday, we saw the first of 3 national debates took place. Yeah. The social issues debate, and we saw on display several issues being looked at from both sides of the political divide. Several questions were asked, answered, and we watched. We sat, we watched, we listened. So in our Public Opinion this evening, we're asking who was the best or worst speaker in Saturday's debate on social issues. You have listened, you've watched. Let me know who was the best or worst speaker for you on the social issues debate. I'll start with the comments on X, where Andre Lawrence is saying, definitely Minister Samuda without a question. He was the standout debater of the night, eloquent, well-prepared and laser-focused. He stayed above the usual political jabs and emotional rambling, instead delivering arguments like a sniper, precise, devastating, and impossible to ignore. He says by the end, Crawford was sweating and Price was visibly irritated because he simply couldn't keep up. Mrs. Fraser-Binns, by contrast, he says he'd have to call her the weakest performer of the night. Her arguments, he says, were thin. They could have floated away. Damian Meeks is saying best, Matthew Samuda, worst, Sophia Fraser-Binns. A. Clark saying overall good questions all around. For me individually though, Matthew Samuda did his homework and was well prepared, keeping within time for the most parts and not only answering broadly. In all fairness, the JLP seemed in one accord with both speaking broadly and specifics. They won. He says Team PNP had good for some reason. It didn't hit the mark. Let me see. Afghanistan Rasta is saying Matthew was the best. On point. Let me see. Matthew Samuda best, Raymond Price worst, says Tia Davis on our Facebook platform. Audley Phillip. Most people are not politically mature enough to admit to the true winners and lovers. Their decisions are usually clouded by their political preferences. Talk truth. But from an independent standpoint, Audley Phillips says Damian Crawford was the best debater and Sophia Fraser-Binns the worst. For Philip Jackson, he says Matthew Samuda was the best. Damian Crawford was the worst. Raymond Price was more cheeky, but his closing argument was cool. He's saying if you no mash ants, you no know say him have got. That was Samuda. Oh, I see. Clifton is saying Damian Crawford, once me see the clean shave, him clean shave for the optics, knew he wouldn't be himself, was proven to be right, says Clifton. Norma Henry is saying first Raymond, second Damian, third Samuda. I've been thinking a lot about the debate, and I think that what really stood out was the clarity of Raymond's arguments, Damian's passion, and Samuda's, well, let's just say Samuda's unique approach. That's according to Norma Henry. Audley Nain is saying the best is Matthew Samuda and Kamina Johnson the worst. Kamina Johnson, he's saying the worst debaters are Damian Crawford and Raymond Price. Jermaine Donovan here saying Matthew Samuda was the best by far. Damian butchered the English language and need to take some English classes. And he's saying 3 is not a number. Okay. Audrey Smith saying 1 Matthew Samuda, the JLP best, and the worst Raymond Price and Crawford. Daphne McCreath is saying the best was Matthew Samuda, the gentle giant, and the worst was Damian Crawford. Raymond Price looked like he was looking someone to quarrel with. O'Neill Dennis is saying the best speaker is Matthew Samuda and the worst Damian Crawford and Raymond Price. Please be reminded that these are not our views or the views of Nationwide. These are the views of the people, as indeed it is the public opinion. Caron is saying a solid 3-way tie between Damian Crawford, Raymond Price, and Sophia Fraser-Binns. For Tiffany Rowe, Tiffany is saying the best speaker was Matthew Samuda. He was remarkable. The worst speaker for me was the lady on Team PNP. Can't recall her name. Pernell Charles Jr. seemed a little unsettled, but his closing remarks were superb. I think he redeemed himself there. Tiffany is saying Raymond was good for the most part, but she found the blatant insults unnecessary and unprofessional. Let me quickly go through some on our YouTube platform. Who was the best or worst speaker in Saturday's debate on social issues? I'm turning my attention now to our YouTubers. Jerome876 says Raymond came to trace. Abraham Thomas says Raymond the best, Charles the worst. Damian Crawford said he will answer Matthew on the campaign platform. That's according to Devon White right there. Donna Thompson believes Samuda was the best and Price was the worst. Let me see. Bridge Mar saying the best was Matthew Samuda and the worst was Raymond Price. Discover something. Matthew for sure. Worst, Pernell. Raymond was such a huge turnoff for Discover Something New. Let me see. So far, it seems as though more people are saying Matthew Samuda was the best, based on the feedback we've been receiving. Ronald Grant saying Samuda was the best, hands down. Worst is a toss-up, between Crawford and Price, he says. K. Ambitious says Matthew, the boss. Damian, the worst. All right. Culture saying Matthew Samuda best, Damian Crawford the worst. Matthew came to work, and Country saying Crawford was the worst. All right, let me see on our Instagram platform. I'm not touch this yet. Going there now. Tony is saying best speaker was Matthew Samuda, and I'm talking about a good balance of eloquence and facts. Worst speaker was Sophia Fraser Binns. London Vich is saying best Samuda, worst Damian Crawford. I Am Flower is saying best Samuda, worst the lady Sophia Fraser Binns. For Tropical Heat JM, Matthew Samuda is the best and Damian Crawford worst. K. Gordon is saying in real sense Matthew Samuda the best. Worst all three PNP, especially the men, came with their tracing skills. The best was Captain Matthew, the worst Raymond. That's according to Philip King. Paul is saying that PNP lady, she gave me Portia vibes. Second worst was Price. No points, just tracing. Raymond, Price, then Crawford, then the lady in the red. The three from JLP keep responding. They weren't answering? Would you look at that? Best was between Samuda and Price. That's according to 1876. Wow, this one says Charles was trash. I expected more from Damian though. Wow, these comments. Best was Matthew. Worst were Pernell. He didn't show up. Raymond. His snide remarks were out of place, says Katie P. Katie YP. Wise Emissary saying Pernell Charles was all over the place. I think he let the side down. Elite Pryor says best Raymond, worst Charles. Let me see. The brother, you're always a flip-flop according to Audley Brown. What are you talking about? Errol says Matthew Samuda the best and the worst. Damian Crawford. Responding Rain Sounds saying reposing, yeah? Saying talking gimmick, Damian, worst, Raymond, very arrogant, Matthew Samuda the best, Kamina second, third, then Charles round out the top four. John Lowton is saying, I tell you guys, be balanced. He's saying to be balanced. Want to see if you got highlight what King say. What was King? I don't know what that one is saying. Thank you, Gertrude. Thank you, Gertrude. I see your comment. All right. Wow. We have two more debates coming up. Interesting one. The economy, the debate on the economy. That's for tomorrow, Tuesday. Stay tuned. Watch it. Listen to it. And then we have the leaders going head to head. All right. Thank you so much for participating in Public Opinion. The Business Report is up next.
Public Opinion was brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Drive the most exciting new vehicles in Jamaica. Schedule your 2024 Ford Ranger pickup or Ford Everest 7-seater SUV test drive now. Call or visit KIG today.
The time by KIG is
6:33.
Visit Marshall's Pharmacy, Greater Portmore, for all your prescription needs, gifts, personal care, household and stationery items. The temperature by Marshall's Pharmacy, Greater Portmore is
32 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 31 out west in Montego Bay. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Nationwide's Business Report. I'm Robianne Williams. 2 Elon Musk-backed businesses have officially sued Apple and OpenAI, accusing them of joining forces illegally to block threats from potential competitors. The lawsuit filed in the U.S. by X and XAI takes aim at Apple's decision to integrate OpenAI's chatbot into the operating systems of its smartphones, an exclusive arrangement that it says violated competition law. Now, the filing makes good on a threat Musk had lobbed against the 2 tech giants earlier this month when he alleged that Apple favored OpenAI in its App Store rankings. Apple did not immediately respond to a request, while OpenAI said the filing was consistent with Mr. Musk's ongoing pattern of harassment. And finally, in the currency markets at the close of trading today, it cost 160 Jamaican dollars and 84 cents to buy $1, 216 Jamaican dollars and 83 cents to buy £1 British pound, and 116 Jamaican dollars and 89 cents to buy the Canadian dollar. That's the Business Report. I'm Robianne Williams. Good evening.
GPS, keep it cool, I keep it cool. Summertime hot, but we have all the tools. Keep it cool, I keep it cool. Enough ways to see it, you just have to choose. Stay out of the fridge, just use a igloo. Remember your Kisco ice and the juice. The fan AC combo, yeah, I hit that. AC for a bit, then a fan after that. Keep it cool, I keep it cool. This summer JPS have all the tools. Keep you cool with JPS. Download the JPS app today.
The following is a paid announcement by the Jamaica Labour Party.
The Jamaica Labour Party is doing more for you and your pocket. No new taxes in 8 years. We have created over 250,000 new jobs. That's more Jamaicans working than ever before. Across every industry, we have delivered real progress. Real performance, not just promises. We're doing more for you, and we're not done yet. Choose results you can count on. Put your X beside the bell.
The proceeding was a paid announcement by the Jamaica Labour Party.
Looking for superior quality transportation from an international award-winning provider? Well, look no further. Choose Island Car Rentals, Jamaica's leading car rental company, setting the standard for ground transportation in Jamaica. For over 50 years, Island Car Rentals has been your trusted partner for reliable, top-quality vehicles. But we're more than just a car rental company. Need an airport transfer at any hour? Heading out of town and want to travel in style with a private chauffeur? Need a truck to rent for business or personal use? Or maybe you need a customized shuttle or tour for a large or a small group? Whatever your transportation need, Island Car Rentals has you covered. Call us today at 876-926-8012 or 876-929-5875 or visit www.islandcarrentals.com to book your next trip. Because Island people take better care of you.
The wait is over. Spark is coming to you. Across Jamaica, we'll be fixing 10 roads per constituency. Over 100 roads will be fixed by September and 630 roads overall. This is real action, real improvement, real results. Every Jamaican deserves safer, stronger roads. Spark, the next chapter in Jamaica's infrastructure development.
Jamaica's largest tile selection just got even bigger. Discover what's new at Active Home Center. With our latest arrivals, it's easier than ever to make your space truly unique. Explore ocean blues, botanical greens, and soft sandy neutrals that bring a calm, effortless vibe. From bold patterns to sleek, large format tiles in glossy or matte finishes, every room makes a statement. Shop now at Active Kingston and Montego Bay. Active Home Center. More savings, more choices.
Attention registered voters! Remember to collect your renewed voter ID card before the upcoming general election. If you registered to vote in 2016 or after and did not get your new ID card, it may have been automatically renewed. Simply visit your EOJ constituency office to collect your voter ID card. Contact the Electoral Office of Jamaica at 888-991-VOTE or 922-0425-9 for more information.
The time has once again come for Jamaicans to return to the polls in a general election. In the race to 32, several issues will be on the minds of Jamaicans as they make their way to the polling stations across the country. Whether at the national or community level, it will all come down to what happens inside the ballot box. Nationwide 90 FM is your best source for credible, accurate, reliable, and engaging political analysis of all the key battleground seats. Join Cliff Hughes every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 7 p.m. in Nationwide at 5 for Inside the Ballot Box, leading up to Election Day, September 3. Repeated every Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday at 8:10 a.m. in Nationwide this morning. It's the political history class, Inside the Ballot Box. Only on Nationwide Radio, Nationwide YouTube, and NationwideRadioJM.com. The new revolution in media.
Track and Field's global showpiece heads back to Asia for its 2025 staging. The World Athletics Championships from Tokyo, Japan is live on Nationwide 90 FM. September 13 to 21.
Great start from Seville, who's got a little bit of a march on Noel Lyles. Seville's going to win this. Brilliant rid. He even has time to salute.
How will the Jamaicans stack up? The likes of Kishane, Oblique, Nikisha, Tina, Sherika, and Lavelle, all seeking podium spots.
Really good running on the near side too from Tia Clayton. Tia Clayton takes it there.
And the world will say goodbye to Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce.
Watch for Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce.
She brings the curtain down on her 18-year career. She goes back to where it all started.
And she's going to do it. Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce.
Live every moment from the World Athletics Championships from Tokyo, Japan, September 13 to 21 live with a kind of coverage only Nationwide 90 FM provides.
Hi there. Here's some good news for these trying times. Quote, "By God's word, I can see where I'm going. They throw a beam of light on my dark path." Unquote. Psalm 119, verse 105. Listen for God's word weekdays at 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. through
Oasis. Stop by for a refreshing drink and share a God perspective for the day.
Oasis. Weekdays 5:45 a.m. and 12:55 p.m. right here on Nationwide, a revolution in media.
The rebroadcast of the Oasis can be heard weekdays at 5:45 a.m.
This is the Race to 32, the battle for Jamaica House and the issues that matter. Your voice, your vote.
Good evening to you. Thank you so much for staying with us here on Nationwide at 5. It's time for the nation's business. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Cliff Hughes.
And we're continuing to assess manifesto promises. The Jamaica Labour Party says it will provide significant tax breaks for senior citizens if it wins the September 3 general election. Now, that proposal is among a raft of initiatives outlined in the party's manifesto, dubbed I Choose Jamaica, the Next Chapter.
The 110-page document was unveiled on Sunday during a mass rally in Sam Sharp Square in Montego Bay, St. James. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness made the announcement.
For our seniors, and they have been writing to me patiently, we have some very good, we have to give thanks for our senior citizen class. They are the ones that keep balance in the society. They are an anchor. We have to give thanks for them. So for seniors aged 65 and over, we will exempt all employment and pension earnings from income tax, where total income from all sources is $6 million or less per year, because we are honoring our seniors who have built Jamaica.
That's Dr. Andrew Holness, Prime Minister and JLP leader. Joining us now to discuss, founder and executive chair of the Caribbean Community of Retired Persons, CCRP, Jean Laurie Chin, and former government senator and former chair of the Special Select Committee of the Senate that was tasked with reviewing a proposed Elderly Care and Protection Act, Shireen Golding Campbell. Ladies,
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hello, good evening, Cliff. Good evening, Siobhan.
Good evening.
Hi, Shireen.
Hi, Dean. Good evening, Cliff. I thought that was Ricardo.
Yes, it is Ricardo, but Siobhan was on earlier, so it's fine.
Oh, sorry.
Hi,
Ricardo.
That's fine. Hello.
Let me begin with you, Jean Laurie Chin. Your reaction to what you heard there from the Prime Minister.
Well, of course, we're ecstatic. We actually had written 2 years ago to the Ministry of Finance for them to give us better tax breaks, and they did respond, and they did give us better tax breaks. But this is really beyond our dreams, and we are very grateful for it. But can I just say, I think this is the first time that I have seen both manifestos so focused on our seniors, and I'm very grateful.
And give us a sense, Jean Laurie Chin, of what were some of the concerns you were hearing expressed by our seniors?
Well, and I have to thank both former Senator and Attorney at Law Shireen Golding Campbell and former Senator Professor Floyd Morris for their initiative in setting up the committee to begin the laying the groundwork for the Elderly Care and Protection Act, because we were allowed, along with many other organizations like the National Council for Senior Citizens, to make our presentation to that Senate committee. And in our presentation, we see a lot of those areas being addressed in both manifestos, but I must say, for the JLP manifesto, this easier guardianship order and this registry to ensure appropriate record keeping is so important, because I did not know that having a power of attorney does not ensure that after you are not able to make decisions for yourself, that person can act for you. I didn't realize that you had to get guardianship. And so I'm really happy that this is part of the plan. Yes.
And Shireen Golding, I suspect you had a hand in the writing of this section of the manifesto.
I think perhaps, Cliff, I was consulted at one point. I'm very, very happy to see it in black and white, and very happy to see that my party has looked really meaningfully at what it is the senior citizens need and what we must do as a society to protect them. When I read the manifesto section on older persons, it tells me that we really understand that there's a need for the entire society to respect seniors, for there to be systems in place that demand respect for seniors. And it also demonstrates to me a government that listens. Many of these initiatives in the manifesto were things that, we were talking amongst each other, different advocates internally, about how we go about doing this and the need to do this. So I'm really, really happy with what has been developed and considered.
Here is one that is also quite interesting. Older Persons Advocate.
And this is from the JLP manifesto.
Yes. We will establish an office of the Older Persons Advocate as a commission of Parliament endowed with the powers to represent vulnerable older persons, cause the investigation into complaints of abuse of older persons, and intervene in matters involving the care and protection of older persons. Jean, your reaction to that one?
Well, that is so well needed. We get so many calls, pleas from relatives who live overseas who are sending funds for their relatives, and those funds are not being used properly. We have had to, at one point, call the police to intervene because somebody was stealing those funds. And, of course, you know, even in some of our care homes that are not registered, those care homes need to be monitored more closely, and I think having this older person's advocate is great. Mm-hmm. Can I also mention active aging, opportunities to serve, and meaningful work?
Yes.
Because we started by telling people that, listen, we have retired seniors who are active, healthy, very experienced, and are known for their ethics. And would you believe that now, at least weekly, we get companies asking us to put out ads for our seniors, because the ads we have put out, they say they are so impressed with the resumes. Mm-hmm. And of course, our members are so happy because many of them have taken early retirement and they have a lot more time to go, a lot more expertise. So this active aging, opportunities to serve, and meaningful work, I applaud it.
Mm-hmm. And Jean Lorchin, obviously these promises are coming in the context of a general election campaign. And I wondered whether your members had expressed, not necessarily who they're going to vote for, but any view about their own role in the electoral process.
Well, I would like to remind our two parties that the most faithful voters are our senior citizens. You know, you will see them, some of them, they have mobility issues, and they are out there casting their vote. And therefore, you know, I am just glad that both parties are showing a lot of focus on this. I have to mention, too, the digital inclusion that is mentioned by the PNP manifesto. Mm-hmm. I think that's a good idea. And the I Am Alive app that is in the JLP manifesto. Mm-hmm. Yes. Because, you know, people have to be running around now and getting their life certificate signed.
Yes.
So if they can roll this out, and actually our general manager of CCRP, Angela Patterson, is on that I Am Alive committee, and she is reporting to us that they are making good progress. So I think our seniors are very... Listen, the one thing I wanted to point out to the National Debating Committee, and I need to call Brian Schmidt about this, it's one thing to have a signer, and we should have a signer for the deaf. But a lot of our elderly folks are getting hard of hearing, and they do not know how to sign. And therefore, I'm appealing to the stations who are carrying it to have closed captions, please. So that they can at least read what is being said. Because a lot of our elderly people do not understand signing. They were hearing right up until their older age, and now they're having problems with their hearing.
Here's another one, Shireen Golding Campbell, that I think is quite instructive. Caregiver training. In partnership with Heart NSTA, we will train nursing aides and caregivers with a focus on age-related conditions like Alzheimer's, stroke, and cancer.
Absolutely, Tiff. And you know, what the JLP has understood and has acknowledged is the need for qualified, properly trained individuals to manage older persons when they get to a stage where they need caregiving. This was something we spoke about in the Special Select
committee, and something I spoke with my colleague senators about as we were deliberating through the special select committee. So, again, excuse me, I'm really, really happy that the proposals in here have been set out in really a sort of specific way. It's general in some sense, but there are specific proposals that reveal to me what the framework is going to look like that the JLP government will move forward in relation to the protection of older people. Yeah. And I say this too, that, yesterday I was on another forum trying to explain to someone who didn't seem to want to understand that the JLP campaigning on the issue of prosperity for the last term in office. Prosperity is not a destination; it's a journey. It is an effort to constantly look at your people and look at your country and to try to make life easier and life better for them and to make their own lives more prosperous. And when I look at the proposals that we have developed in relation to our older persons, I'm very pleased. The older persons advocate is a monitoring, the check and balance, the one that moves in to ensure that the senior citizens are okay. The income tax relief hits personally to the most vulnerable senior citizens who are earning $6 million or less. The guardianship orders and the registry that will monitor the grant of powers of attorney and the guardianship orders hit directly at families like mine, who, myself, my extended family, we have some senior citizens in our family who are not doing as well as they used to do and who need care, need somebody to step in and take control of their lives and to help and manage their affairs. So it is really quite comprehensive. I am happy. I have no quarrel with my party about these proposals. These proposals are sound and comprehensive, and I hope Jamaican people take note of that, particularly our seniors as we move towards September 3rd.
Senator Shireen Golding Campbell, obviously both political parties are on the hunt for votes. But I wonder, do you think that in focusing and centering the issues of senior citizens and older persons, that could also assist in changing attitudes to how we view our older citizens?
Absolutely, Ricardo. And that is why it was so easy for my party to accept the importance of enshrining the rights of older persons in law. This is something that people like Professor Denise Eldermeyer Shearer have been advocating to members of the Labour Party for quite some time. And so what happens when you do that is you create a statute that says this is the right of the older person. Of course, much of this is guided by international conventions and agreements, yes? But it causes the society, it causes a country to have regard to how older persons interface with public services and private services. It means that you cannot simply put up a business or an institution that just ignores the unique needs of older persons. You have to have regard for that. So it's going to change our attitude. It's going to cause us to think differently, how we set up public buildings, how we set up public service delivery. And we have specifically said in our manifesto that we want to make it simpler and more accessible for senior citizens to access government services and benefits. And that's also going to benefit the rest of us as citizens in the country. But this is something that I know my government is focused on delivering were the Jamaican people to trust them for the next term. And I believe they should, and I think they will.
Just before we go, former Senator Golding, tell me, you're coming out of your committee hearings and deliberations. Did you define elder abuse?
We did not specifically define it, Cliff, but we did recommend that it be defined in law because we have, the uniqueness of that term, elder abuse,
We heard reports about our elders being subjected to scams, financial abuse, that may have offenses in law ordinarily, but the idea is that when you can define elder abuse, you can target those who target older persons. So it adds another layer of protection for them if it is specifically defined in relation to older persons.
Well, they have here protection from abuse. The law will define elder abuse and introduce tough penalties for physical, emotional, or financial harm to seniors.
And I'm going to clap it. Because seniors are particularly vulnerable. I mean, an older person, may have all their mental faculties, but may not have the mobility that they ordinarily would have, or they may not have the financial foundation and strength that they had in their younger lives. And when you have people who come into their homes, come into their lives, and take advantage of them simply because the older person can't run after them or can't call anybody or is too embarrassed and too ashamed, they get taken advantage of. So I'm really, really happy that the Manifesto Committee and the policy team working on this really dived into it and sorted it in a way that created a comprehensive set of proposals that I think touch pretty much every aspect of what you can think about when it comes to addressing the needs of our seniors.
And as a proud grandma's boy, I'm happy to see the focus on seniors and older persons.
Ricardo, I'm a proud grandma girl.
Good.
May I also say, though, that we need more monitoring of our care homes. We have a shortage of inspectors for care homes. So we're glad for this manifesto. We're also glad for what the PNP has written, but we know that advocacy is going to be very important to ensure that these things are rolled out very quickly, because there's a lot of suffering that needs to be addressed.
And that's the importance of the Office of the Older Persons Advocate, because it's not just dealing with people in private homes, it's dealing with any older person. That advocate will be empowered almost similarly to how our children's advocate operates, so that he can ensure that, yes, the family says the older person is okay, but they haven't seen her for a year. Like we had in that story the other day.
That awful story.
Yes,
but you see, what I'd like is also monitoring before the fact. Monitoring the homes to make sure that they maintain a certain standard.
Yeah.
That needs to be, that really needs to be addressed. And we have actually written to the permanent secretary about this matter.
Have to leave it there. Jean Laura Chin is the executive chair of the Caribbean Community of Retired Persons. Shireen Golding Campbell, until very recently, was a government senator. She also chaired the Special Select Committee of the Senate that was tasked with reviewing a proposed Elderly Care and Protection Act.
Ricardo.
Yes. Thank you so much, ladies. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you both, and thank you,
Good.
listeners.
These YouTubers, C. Lawrence 777 says, at Cliff Hughes, you're only 2 years out from being a beneficiary senior of the plans laid out in the JLP manifesto. How do you feel about it? Good. It means that my elder years, senior years, are being adequately prepared for from the state. Yes? But I'm not going to wait on the state to take care of me.
Them call you pops.
You call me that. And you call me that.
I say, pops, I get up in a age.
I'm a senior.
And we love you. Oh. It's 7:01 after the break. Cliff Hughes will take you inside the ballot box.
The following is a paid announcement by the Jamaica Labour Party.
So we say vote for Labour. To Jamaica. And we say vote for Labour.
The proceeding was a paid announcement by the Jamaica Labour Party.
Stay ahead in your career with UWI-STAR, the short-term advancement resource center. Our programs are designed to support your professional growth. Join our community of professionals and take the next step in your career. Visit our website www.mona.uwi.edu/short-courses to learn more about the continuing professional education programs of UWI-STAR.
The time has once again come for Jamaicans to return to the polls in a general election. In the race to 32, several issues will be on the minds of Jamaicans as they make their way to the polling stations across the country. Whether at the national or community level, it will all come down to what happens inside the ballot box. Nationwide 90 FM is your best source for credible, accurate, reliable, and engaging political analysis of all the key battleground seats. Join Cliff Hughes every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 7 p.m. in Nationwide at 5 for Inside the Ballot Box, leading up to Election Day, September 3. Repeated every Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday at 8:10 a.m. in Nationwide this morning. It's the political history class, Inside the Ballot Box. Only on Nationwide Radio, Nationwide YouTube, and NationwideRadioJM.com. The new revolution in media.
You're listening to Inside the Ballot Box on Nationwide 90 FM as we cover the 2025 general elections. It's the race to 32.
Today on Inside the Ballot Box, we explore a pivotal era in Jamaica's political history, the fierce ideological clash of the 1970s and 80s. The People's National Party, PNP, led by Michael Manley, championed democratic socialism, aiming to uplift the poor through state-led reform and stronger ties with countries like Cuba. In contrast, the Jamaica Labour Party, JLP, under Edward Seaga promoted free market policies, reduced government intervention, and closer alignment with the United States. This ideological divide not only shaped policy, but also intensified political tensions across the nation. This is Inside the Ballot Box with Cliff Hughes. Explain the ideological struggle between the two big parties that defined elections in the 1970s and 80s.
It begins with a little history. At the start of the two major political parties, the People's National Party started in 1938, and their ideological mentor, so to speak, was the British Labour Party. And the British Labour Party was a democratic socialist party, yeah? And that was where, or what they call Fabian socialism, their ideology, yeah, their political mantra was Fabian socialism, where they were focused on delivering socialist policies that favored the working class of the United Kingdom and Great Britain within the framework of parliamentary democratic elections. While the Jamaica Labour Party, that was founded by Bustamante in 1943, started as a political party and an affiliate virtually or an associate of the trade union, Bustamante Trade Union, Industrial Trade Union. And that party was always a more conservative, liberal, capitalist party. They got a lot of support from the local capitalist class in Jamaica. While the PNP, that was mainly supported by the professional classes, the intelligentsia in Jamaica, the nurses, the teachers, the doctors, they saw themselves as more a party, a movement that was going to replace the colonial leadership that was under British colonialism, and they wanted now control of their own destiny. They tended to be far more liberal in terms of their thinking and idea. However, ideology didn't really surface in Jamaican politics until about 1974, when Michael Manley assumed the leadership of the PNP from his father in 1969. His father retired as PNP president in 1969. Michael Manley assumed the leadership in 1969 and led the party to victory in those famous elections of 1972, February of 1972. And within 2 years, Michael Manley, supported by a number of people in the People's National Party, thought, given the social decay, the social inequity in Jamaica, the structure of the economy being so heavily skewed towards the elites, the economic elites, he felt it was time for the PNP to assert its democratic socialist policies that led to its formation in 1938. And in 1974, he declared that the official policy of the People's National Party, the government of Jamaica, was democratic socialism. That caused a whole lot of turmoil, turbulence in the country, because up until then, the capitalists, entrepreneurs, business people, classes, thought and were comfortable that they were in control in Jamaica until one of their own, Michael Manley, yes, Father Manley's son, brown man, felt that no, this cozy relationship between the state and the capitalist class had run its course. It was time to change it in favor of social justice and, most importantly, the redistribution of wealth, yes, so that the gap, the big gap between the working class, the working poor, and the business class, the business elites, the social elites in Jamaica, that gap had become so big, it threatened the very fabric of the society. Yes? And Michael Manley came to power in 1972, on the slogan, better must come. Yes? And by better must come, meaning that time to use the levers, the powers of the state, the government of Jamaica, to redistribute wealth in the society. So he came up with a whole raft of legislation, policies that sought to close that gap, both not only in terms of physical wealth, but also in terms of self-esteem. That was when, for example, the Bastardy Act, bastards, you know about bastards, when you are born out of wedlock, you are discriminated against because your parents were not married when you were conceived and born, and it started a whole period of ferment in the country, At first, it was very popular, so much so that Michael Manley and the PNP won a massive re-election in December 1976. But by 1976, problems started to emerge because their management of the economy suffered badly. People started to reconsider their position in the country. People who owned capital, people who did business. And then the word started to get out that the Jamaican government was beginning to be a socialist government. Michael Manley himself used rhetoric that alarmed people about walking to the mountaintop with Fidel Castro of Cuba. Yeah, America didn't like that. Yeah, and he started to get backlash both locally and externally, which led to the ideological struggle now, because Seaga, who assumed leadership of the Jamaica Labour Party in 1974, lost the 76 election, and immediately after losing the 76 election, yes, started to pressure the Manley administration on the basis that, listen, there are now two clear paths available to Jamaicans. The Democratic Socialist path of the then incumbent Manley administration, or what Seaga was promulgating, that is, liberal capitalism, yeah, where freedoms are guaranteed. The JLP started a campaign that, listen, the PNP want, if you had 10 goats or 10 cows, the PNP wanted you to give up 5 and distribute to other people. It was an intensely fought period of propaganda. And propaganda is not necessarily truthful. Yeah? And that plunged the country into a period of political violence, yes, where people felt that they were defending Jamaica's future. And the two political parties armed their gunmen, their supporters, right across the country. And after 75, 76, we just went down a slippery slope until the most violent election in our history occurred in 1980. And that period scarred Jamaica. We became more coarse, yeah, as a people towards each other. Violence was almost normalized, yeah, normalized to the point where we now, well, up until recent, when we killed 1,500 people on a nothing, yeah, communities were invaded by gunmen of a different political persuasion, and 5 people shot and killed, and that became normal. So it scarred the society.
The 1980 general election in Jamaica was marred by political violence, and one tragic incident that stood out was the killing of People's National Party PNP's candidate, Roy McGann. Cliff, can you recount the incident that resulted in the killing of PNP's candidate, Roy McGann, ahead of the 1980s general election?
That was a very tough period. Roy McGann was a minister of government. I think he was a minister of state in the Ministry of National Security. He was also the People's National Party's candidate or prospective candidate for East Rural St. Andrew. He was the Member of Parliament for East Rural St. Andrew and was about to be renominated, yes, on nomination day, when the night or a day before nomination day, it was either 24 hours or 48 hours before nomination day, there was a meeting in Gordontown in the constituency. And up to today, there are conflicting reports as to what really happened. But what is beyond doubt, there was a confrontation between rival party political supporters. There was a lot of tension in the country and in the constituency that was being bedeviled by violence, political violence. And during the confrontation on that night, yeah, guns were drawn, shots were fired, and Mr. McGann was shot. He later died. Yeah, I remember the night as an 18-year-old PNP activist in East Kingston and Port Royal, when the news came through that Roy McGann had been killed, some people say assassinated, the fear that gripped our community and frankly the whole country, because up until then, no minister or politician had been killed. Yeah? I think Ferdy Yap was a politician who was shot. Yeah? But he survived. Roy McGann was the first to be killed. Some PNP people say he was assassinated. And they point the fingers at Joan Gordon Webley, who was then just Joan Gordon and the candidate for the Jamaica Labour Party against Roy McGann, right? And she became a hate figure for the PNP, yeah? Because many people hold her responsible, yeah? Of course, that was never proven in a court of law. And what do we have today? Irony of ironies. Joan Gordon is now a member of the People's National Party and its candidate for West Rural St. Andrew against Juliet Cuthbert Flynn, 40 years on. Yeah? But to complete my answer, I think it represented a very, very low watershed for us in Jamaica. It marked a point where history can never forget what happened in Gordon Town on the night before nomination day when we killed a minister of government. But it should be no surprise because the same history will have to record that we had killed about 800 Jamaicans in the run-up to those elections. Yeah? And fortunately, we have pulled back from that. "19 minutes after 7 o'clock, and I want to, listening back to it now for a second time, I picked up the candidate who was shot before McGann was not Ferdy Yap, but Ferdy Nita. He was shot out in St. Catherine. Ferdy Yap was the JLP candidate in West Central St. Andrew, in the run-up to October 30, 1980. He wasn't shot. It was Ferdy Nita, who was a PNP candidate for one of the St. Catherine seats, who was shot. So please correct that for me, right? Ferdy Nita.
You've just heard Inside the Ballot Box on Nationwide 90 FM as we cover the 2025 general elections. It's the race to 32.
The NHT is lending up to $12 million for homes priced at $14 million or less, making home ownership more accessible for Jamaicans. We are building Jamaica.
The time by the office of the Prime Minister is...
It's 21 minutes after 7.
The following is a paid announcement by the Jamaica Labour Party.
Hello, this is Darrell Vaz. Jamaica's next energy contract cannot be the same as a bad 20-year-old deal negotiated by the PNP in 2001 and 2016. This minister and the Jamaica Labour Party administration now has the first opportunity available for us to renegotiate a reduction in your bills, and we will get it done. Do not allow the same PNP politicians to again negotiate on your behalf. On September 3rd, put your X beside the bell and choose Jamaica. Vote for the Jamaica Labour Party.
The proceeding was a paid announcement by the Jamaica Labour Party.
Want to save money and still protect your engine? Get Chevron Supreme Sin Blend Motor Oil, the blue bottle with a silver stripe. Now upgraded to synthetic blend, so your engine runs cleaner, longer, and stronger. Now available island-wide at service stations and leading auto parts stores. Ask for Chevron Motor Oil, your favorite blue bottle with a silver stripe. That's Chevron Sin Blend, your engine good friend.
The Watchman. Exploring issues shaping our society, government, and business. Provocative, unconventional. Dr. Henley Morgan is The Watchman.
Good evening. Team PNP Comfy Debate. Team JLP Tech Debate. Beauty, it is said, is in the eyes of the beholder. It is equally true that debates between rival political parties are in the ears of the listener. You hear what you want to hear. The first in the current round of debates between the governing JLP and opposition PNP on social issues would benefit from objective scoring to determine who got the overall advantage on the night. To that end, the Watchman employed a 10-point must-scoring system, usually associated with the sport of boxing. In responding to each question, the respective team starts with 10 points. The team that lands the most punches is awarded the full 10 points. The opponent is awarded 5 points. Where there was a tie, each team was awarded the maximum 10 points. 12 questions, including follow-up questions, came from the panel. 6 directed to the JLP and 6 to the PNP. Each team was allowed a rebuttal. 6 questions came from social media, directed to both the JLP and PNP. Team JLP and Team PNP were each allowed to ask 1 question to the opposing team, followed by a rebuttal. Both teams were allowed to make closing remarks. Overall, using boxing metaphor, one could say there were 22 rounds to the match. Scoring. Team PNP got 10 points on 18 of its responses to Team JLP's 10 points on 9 of its responses, yielding an overall score of Team PNP 195, Team JLP 150. Another way of looking at it, if this were a test marked out of 100, Team PNP would achieve a mark of 89%, Team JLP 60%. Both passing grades, but a clear winner. Without singling out individuals, Team PNP, Raymond Price, Sophia Fraser-Bin, Damian Crawford, was better prepared and more in command of subject matter than Team JLP, Matthew Samuda, Kamina Johnson-Smith, Pernell Charles Jr. One noticeable difference in strategy was Team PNP's role assignment among the 3 team members: policy wonk, attack dog, and centering role. Another noticeable feature was Team PNP's better utilization of time, on occasion allowing for input by a second speaker in a kind of tag team combat. In political debates, it is also important to remember who is the audience. Team PNP talked to real people: police, teachers, nurses, public service professionals, parents, students, the man pandikana, the proverbial Miss Matty and Mastro. Team JLP, on the other hand, suffered from what is termed in psychology caught in the headlight syndrome, a metaphor describing the experience of a deer caught in the high beam of an oncoming vehicle when crossing a dark road. Paralyzed and unable to think clearly, the inevitable happens. The deer gets hit or scampers off at the sound of screeching brakes. The PNP must favor its chances of winning the next debate on Tuesday, August 26, 2025, when Team JLP, Favour Williams, Christopher Tufton, Dana Morrison Dixon go up against Julian Robinson, Keisha Anderson, and Peter Bunting in discussing the economy. Think on these things.
Produced by Agency for Inner City Renewal, AIR, and recorded in the Jamming Studio Trenchtown, a breath of fresh air bringing change to the inner city.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies including plugs, switches, panel boards, and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer, and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
The following is a paid announcement by the Jamaica Labour Party.
We create more jobs for Jamaicans, build road and better education. We make communities safer, ring the bell and vote for Labour. There is no party next to we, the greatest team in history. Jamaica Labour Party marching on to victory. We do so much already, now we doing more.
The proceeding was a paid announcement by the Jamaica Labour Party.
We're going to take your calls now, 630-9371-24, 618-8255.
Escape to Idlewild Island, a grill where sand and serenity meet. Visit idlewild.com or call 876-957-3302. Idlewild and stay a while.
Home is closer than you think when you save towards your dream home with the Homeowner Savings Plan, or HOSP, from CIBC Caribbean. With HOSP, you unlock preferential interest rates to earn more interest on your savings and pay less with a discounted mortgage rate. You can even borrow up to an additional US $5,000 or its equivalent to help you with your closing costs. Get home faster when you save the HOSP way with CIBC.
You can still go through quicker and cheaper with a T-tag under the new toll rate structure. Effective August 23, there will be some changes to the toll rates at the Portmore, Spanish Town, Vineyards, and Maypen toll plazas. But don't worry, with a T-tag, all Class 1 and Class 2 customers will enjoy discounted rates for every single passage. Plus, your 10th weekly trip through the same toll plaza is free. Visit transjamhighways.com for details. Get your T-tag today from any manually operated toll booth on Transjam Highways.
The following is a paid announcement by the Jamaica Labour Party.
Transforming care across the nation. The Jamaica Labour Party is doing more for your health. We've expanded NHF benefits and filled over 3 million prescriptions. Free checks and new subsidies for tests. We're making care more accessible. Plus, 138 health centers repaired and major hospitals under construction. Choose a healthier Jamaica. Put your X beside the bell.
The proceeding was a paid announcement by the Jamaica Labour Party.
.28 going up to 8 o'clock. Good evening, West.
Good evening, Mr. Yusuf. Would I record with you?
Good evening.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I was just listening to the Watchman. I think sometimes, if possible, you need to have an interview with him. Because listening to his views just a while ago as it relates to the the debate over the weekend, I don't know what he was watching. And unless you are a diehard PNP, you could not view it in any other way, because I make sure that I was tuning. My biggest disappointment was in Damien, because I know Damien is somebody who talk a lot, and even if it is not right, he's always confident in presenting himself. So even if it's not goes up, his level of confidence was always up. Damien was nervous, was a nerve wreck. David, his fire those shine like he was nervous. I was expecting more from Pernell Charles Jr. Honestly, I was expecting more, because I think the questions that actually comes to him, that comes to their team, it would fall more under his portfolio.
Mm-hmm.
Camilla Johnson, my view is that I think she was nervous to answer. You're talking on the international stage now. You're not on a political platform, so you can't say anything and the crowd cheer you and it move on. Knowing now that you're actually in the public stage, you have to present yourself totally different. I think that was what catch Damien too. Some of them I won't talk about some of that. He was in a class to himself. I was not surprised of Raymond any at all. Not any at all. Because if Raymond never come up with this rhetoric and this form of thing, it would not be Raymond. Mm-hmm. The question why we ask when Raymond, because sometimes you hear some jokes, you don't get it, but if it's being repeated, you can have an idea where the joke is coming from. When Raymond says that Pernell Charles can't spell Jamaica, what was the joke in it? What was he saying? What was it? What did Pernell Charles said in something, maybe on stage or somewhere?
No, the JLP booklet of achievements had spelled Jamaica wrong. Yes, I think that was what he was alluding to, making reference to.
And what to do with Pernell Charles?
Well, he represents the JLP there. He was a JLP there.
Yeah. But the other
Isn't that what happened?
Yes, that's correct.
I think before me run, I am impressed on the level of confidence that the PNP have in the economy. That's why, so that they can make such bold promises to the Jamaican people. Because unless you are confident in something, for you to make these bold promises, you must have this level of confidence. That's where it's coming from, because over the years, the PNP normally tax. And here is it now that they are promised to give you another Jamaica in a Jamaica without no new tax. And such great confidence. It's obviously, to me, in my view, then that they are very impressed of how the economy is going, and they are very confident that the economy can give so much. Even the JLP, nothing can give so much, but they have more confidence in the JLP performance in the economy than the JLP themselves.
Mm.
All right, thanks for the call, West.
Thank you, West.
Carl, good evening.
Evening, Ricardo. Evening, Mr. Yos.
Good evening, Carl.
Man, if you did hear over the weekend here where on PMP say, he might call out all our PMP them in all our community. We vote for, put the X beside the bell. And if you bother waste no time to vote for no white man or no man and have no age paper for their country. That was a very good odds for that gentleman. Thank you very much, sir. Anyhow, Mr. Yos, for you to give up what Mr. Golin is proposing last night, you have to know where you're getting it back from, sir.
Yes. You're talking the
threshold where Mr. Golin, the threshold where Mr. Golin said I'll give up.
The fresh what?
The threshold.
The threshold.
Oh, the threshold.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
For you to give it up so large, the money must all come back from somewhere to plug that hole.
Mm-hmm.
So just Mr. Golin, second time now Mr. Golin come with that type of proposals. and Mr. Golding never come one time and say, we will cut back from building 2 police stations, we will cut back on the JUTC bus, the next set of garbage truck if we come in, we will cut back on some of them. He part them with the bill, we will cut back on some of those things because we're going to need it to give some benefit to some of the civil servants who keep the threshold higher. So does Mr. Golding just come and just shoot something out the door, not standing out good with me? Because me personal know that the PMP have never grown Jamaica economy yet. So if you should have come in and you just go take out of it, Mr. Hughes, what are we? You think Mr. Hughes, if and Ricardo, yes, somehow we did a cry about the 90s. If Golding ever see Jamaica house, you think in 90s was problem? This will be it. Mr. Hughes, this will be it.
Why you think so? Why you think so, Carl?
Mr. Hughes, Golding tell us say him was the chief organization for Omar Davis. The chief, no, Mr. Hughes, and you almost tell the minister, you tell the minister, but he don't have to do it. And if that was the chief advisor to Omar Davis, Mr. Hughes, we're in a serious problem if this man ever hold leadership in our country. And I think we have to tell everybody tonight what did happen in the 90s. Me know of a woman who did own 2 factory Baker. Me know what did happen to Miss Baker. Yesterday, me I tell one person, when me I carry for over long, me I go all over way. And me just come out of a church, but right in front of ice factory. And me ask them in the vehicle, me say, what, the church where they here, so what did they hear? So they said, no, me say that was a soya bean factory, locked down under Omar. And before me reach out, we saw a KFC there. Me tell him about the whole of Spanish Town on the left-hand side. And me touch Marcus Garvey Drive. And if that was the advisor, Mark Golding, to destroy people business, then if them come in and see those whole heap of revenue put down there, me sorry for we.
All right, sir.
Hold on before you run, Mr.
So, Carl, how your MP, did so badly in the debate on Saturday?
I don't know what happened to. To be very honest to you, I know some good as I'll get beaten now. I was disappointed in my minister. I have to say that straight off like that. Yeah. And I say it in a group of me yesterday. Straight. I don't know what happened to Mr. Charles. I don't know if because him have to be up sometime a late night time in there about in a constituency and all kind of things. I don't know if that's why. But is me in a meeting with him and is that he never come to a party Saturday night. I have to just say it for what it is.
That's true. That's true.
I have to say it.
He had one good moment, and that was the closing.
The closing.
Yes.
I appreciate the closing, but the rest of it, Mr. Charles never come to it. I was looking for far better from Mr. Charles. Far better. Knowing Mr. Charles since he is here.
Yes.
But when me listen Bins and the Raymond Price, before me left, coming to say time short. It was about 8 mistakes of spelling in a PMP manifesto. And for Raymond Price, we find one, say JLP never spelled Jamaica good for them booklet. Raymond Price, you went into the gutter. You're like a small boy. You're between grade 1 and grade 2 students in our class.
Thank you, Carl.
You will find yourself.
All right, Carl.
Faithful, good evening.
Good evening, Cliff. Good evening, Carl.
Good evening, Faithful.
I think I can say I respect Carl tonight. Don't you think only thing I didn't like about Carl is when he mentioned about the white man. But for him to acknowledge the fact that Bernard George did not did well, I think that was very good of him.
Yes.
I noticed also with the debate, I respect everybody's views, who they think win and who they think lose. I can live with that. But I find it very conspicuously when they talk about winners and losers. They say they don't want the individual winner and individual loser, because I think they don't want to say that Matthew Samuel was the winner as an individual. They were the executive group.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so I respect whatever side they want to take and who want to say the win. That's up to them. And I find very strange also they did not have the debate about crime, murder rate, and anything like those. Is it because one side would have a bigger advantage? That's right. My greater concern also, I think I have a problem with the Observer. The Observer say he give the PNP a slight lead, which is fine. Everybody can do that.
The Observer?
Yeah, the Observer.
A slight lead in what?
I'm talking about the debate.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm talking the Observer.
Mm-hmm.
But my problem with the Observer, I think they are decisive enough. When they come out and say something about the Integrity Commission and say, boy, there were some PNP people involved in, and people come out and they retract and then they withdraw it and did not say why. The other day, who should be on the panel, yes or no? The people ball out again, they withdraw and did not say why. In my mind, I think that is very indecisive. If you're going to make a statement, make it and be assured of what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
That's one. And if you're going to withdraw, say why you're withdrawing. Don't just withdraw like that. In my mind, that take away the credibility that they would come with.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish they could look into that step. Because, as I say, I have no problem with the way we want to win or lose. To me, it's a matter of your feelings, your opinion, and what you think. So I can live with that. But the problem I have, there's so much hypocrisy in Jamaica. Because, as I say, I don't believe that nobody is neutral in Jamaica. I believe that we are all over-leaning and over-liking. But most of us like to pretend who we are not. Mm-hmm. And that is where I also have the problem again. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Faithful. All right. Anthony, good evening. Good evening.
Hi, Ricardo. How are you guys doing?
I'm good.
Right. Yeah. So on the debate, Chris, I agree with Ricardo. I am calling it a draw. Mm-hmm. I was really disappointed with Purnell's performance, to be honest. Strong closing, but I think during the debate itself he was missing. I had so much expectation for him that I left feel disappointed. Mm-hmm. And based on that, I call a draw. Chris, I have been thinking and considering all morning, and I'm talking about the PNP proposed 3.5 and plus 3.5 plus, and I said plus because of all the other things that they would have put in their manifesto to say that they will be doing if they should get into government. Cliff. And I'm thinking about funding and how they're going to fund it. And for one case, and what, even if they fund it, where the fund is going to come from, and what impact it will have on the economy. And Cliff, I cannot come to any conclusion in my head outside of maybe adding new taxes and stuff like that. And Mrs. Johnson said something this morning, Cliff, that I have said on this program and you have said before, that it feels like there's no conclusive thought. And why do I say that, Cliff? Because earlier this year in their budget presentation, they mentioned nothing about this tax. In the manifesto that they presented a couple of days ago, they mentioned nothing about it and stuff. So I am saying that it comes down to, listen, let's throw some stuff out there, and anything gets stick that will catch the people to vote for us, we will work with it. And I call that trickery. That's my term for that, trickery. And Cliff, you don't have to comment on it, but I remember that when they had proposed the 3 million first, and this station was asking the how, and nobody was willing to come forward to explain the how. As a matter of fact, I think that was the time when the seriously started to decide that they're going to blacklist nationwide and stuff, because you guys are probing and asking the right questions and all of that. And I think this is something that all well-thinking Jamaican Cliff should be concerned about, in the sense that if you're going to, based on where we are now and where we're coming from, and if you're going to make all of these proposals without coming forward and saying where the money is going to come from, how are you going to fund all of these stuff, I think without that particular cliff, then the proposal should be rejected. I mean, that's where I come down.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's an argument that says, listen, they're manifesto proposals, they're not budget items. Yeah? So you don't need to cast them out.
You don't need to cast it, because it's just proposal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if it's that, then Chris, then there's still another question. When do you plan to do this?
Yes.
5, 6 years. When it's going to happen? You know what I'm saying? No, you can't just leave with iron dry like that. No, sir. There needs to be some answers, and if there's no answers, then I said that. Then guess what? That's what it is.
Okay.
Talk.
Thanks, Anthony. Richard, good evening.
Hey, Ricardo.
Good evening.
Good evening. Yeah, long time. Good evening, Mr. Hughes.
Good evening. Good evening.
Yeah, man. I was trying to call you guys for about a month now. I can't get through, man. I had to get through. But I don't know what kind. On the night I was listening with bated breath to see what the PNP was gonna come with, and there was nothing there, no plan. It was just attack Raymond Prince just on one mission, attack Andrew, attack Christopher Tufton, just attack, and he didn't answer. If you listen carefully, they did not answer any question.
Mm-hmm.
Talking point, just talking point. But Mr. Youth,
yes, sir.
I was watching that debate, and when I see Matthew Samuda, man, I said, this is the future. After Andrew gone, it's the young, grown guy, Matthew Samuda is gonna go. Matthew Samuda is the future of the Jamaica Labour Party. I see that clear now. I met him already, man.
Mm-hmm.
Met him already, and
well, don't crown him yet. This
is you was giving him the crown. You gave me crown already, man.
Uh-huh.
He's the man, Matthew.
No, don't do that yet. You might give him the kiss of death.
No, man. No, Mr. Hughes, man. Matthew was on time. You see, in the first of the debate,
mm-hmm.
I was so upset with Bernal Charles Jr. I feel like I could have pulled him out the TV and slapped him in the face. Trust me, the man was bucking, man. But Matthew is what bring me back. Is what is what kind of he was. And what was going on with Mr. Rasta Crawford? The man, I was ridiculous. Look on his face all night, like he was surprised. His eyes was bulging. It's like his hair was too tight. He was sweating. He looked nervous. He's surprising one night. He looked surprised all night. What the hell was going on with him? You know what I mean?
He had a bad night. He was nervous. He froze.
His face all night.
Mm-hmm.
His head was bulging. He was sweating. You know what I mean? But anyway, only one issue I want to talk to you about, and let me just leave it right. You know what? I'm a Labour, right? I back the Labour Party. I have my baby, my last child, what I bring to the University of the West Indies. And Mr. Hughes, trust me, the school, the money what you have to pay at UAE it will put you it will turn you into a pauper, Mr. Hughes, trust me.
What is she studying?
Political science, Mr. Hughes, come on.
Political science?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh. I don't know the value of that degree, though now, you know, if I'm to be truthful with you.
She also is in accounting.
She's doing it with accounting?
With accounting. She's one of the students that passed math. So what she told me, she wanted to be an auditor. You know, auditing. She was doing in auditing.
And she's doing political science as well?
As well, yeah.
What a combination.
Then, Mr. Hughes, if I love it so much, you think I will try to push my child into political side? Come on, Mr. Hughes.
Why you want to live your life vicariously through your child? Why you don't make her do her own thing, choose her own thing?
Well, she want to do her own thing, but I try to kind of give her a little nudge.
That's how we stay as parents. Yeah? What we didn't do, we projected to our children, eh?
But you have to give her a little nudge in that area now. I don't really push her.
You don't have to give her a nudge in that area. You want her to do the things that you'd love to do and didn't do. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, sir.
So, Mr. Hughes,
uh-huh.
I listen to all our plan and we get left on the wayside again. Nothing for the normal plumber, the normal carpenter, the normal mason. The nurse is going to get their own, the police, the teachers, nothing for us, Mr. Hughes. We get left out again.
Like what would you want for your plumbers and electricians?
Pension plan, Mr. Hughes.
A pension plan.
Security. I might climb up on a staff, you go up on a staff, you know, we want a plan for construction. Is the core base of the Jamaica Labour Party, and my party has never recognized us yet. The only time they recognize us is the boy building and go. We have more carpenters gonna get work. What is nothing for us? What is there? And to all the things I was listening, they talk about it.
But when you say security, what do you mean?
We need some insurance. We need first thing we need a good wage for a mason, a plumber. We need a national.
So you want the government to set the wage for privately employed plumbers?
No, sir. What I'm saying, Mr. Hughes, if you have a standard that you said, what they said, we can go above that because we have a starting point.
Isn't that the minimum wage?
No, what? You can't do.
No, but but you said so. You want the government to set a minimum wage specific to masons. So why couldn't they do one for journalists so they can build cliff views?
You are gonna answer it.
Huh?
You all know that you guys work the big box, right?
No, but it's a principle. No, follow me now. Follow me with the principle. So if they start to set minimum wages for different categories of workers, so let's say masons and plumbers, why couldn't they do it for taxi men or I don't know, street sweepers, journalists, doctors?
That is a field that you can go there. Look here, we could go there and we could make. We're not talking about the wages, we're talking about insurance. You understand? We're talking about insurance.
No, man, but his wages he just was talking about a while ago. So insurance is another matter.
No, but what I'm saying, when we go at the hotel, the people we go is why I don't work at the hotel. I work at one hotel for 1 month. A man who respect me enough to pay me what I deserve.
Right, which is what a free market does.
You understand? But what I'm saying, when you go at these hotels, you don't see how they speak about this hotel is going up in Montego Bay. When you go there, they don't want to pay you. In fact, they pay the Spanish in the U.S. more than you, a professional from Jamaica. What you are working is that's why they're saying that we need more skill man. We have skill man here now. We have people like me. I'm a plumber.
So in addition to the skill, do you have the
for that money at the hotel?
Well, no, yeah. So let me ask it. Right. So in addition to the skill, so like obviously the Spanish, I understand that. Do you have the qualifications to back the skill or just the training?
I'm certified.
Right.
In Trinidad, I'm working in a Curacao. Okay. I am a certified plumber mason. I'm certified by
right. And so you want the government to do what? To say to the hotel workers they must pay you X.
The same amount what the Spanish is getting at these hotels.
Okay.
The Spanish is getting paid in US dollars.
Okay.
When we have to get paid in JA money.
Okay, so you want to be paid in US. All right, I wanted to understand.
And the good government is allowing them to take disadvantage of us here. Why the Spanish can leave and come and get paid in US.
Mm-hmm.
We have to get money in our money.
Yes.
We do the same job. In fact, when I go to, I don't want to repeat the hotel name, but I go to a hotel and we have to go there and repair the work. What is Spanish doing? We have to go there and fix a lot of work. What is Spanish done?
So you're saying the foreigners are getting paid more than you?
They're getting paid more than we.
All right, calm down. I understand. I just wanted to be clear because there was a principle there that I just wanted to understand.
And I am not going to work. I am a certified plumber. I'm a certified plumber, electrical and mason. I'm certified in that.
Yeah.
My work take me to Trinidad and all these places. And we were the best in Trinidad.
You're best paid in Trinidad.
They want us to leave. But we are not going to come to our country and work for that stupid money what they want to pay. Here.
Hear you. Out of time.
Thank you, sir. That's how we're going to leave it for this Monday evening. Thanks to our callers or YouTubers or WhatsAppers or tweets and our producer, Dana Davey, our technical operator, Bogues Andrew Anderson. I'm Cliff Hughes.
And I'm Ricardo Brooks.
Reminding you, take care of your loved one and look out for your neighbor. Good night.
Good evening.
You can still go through quicker and cheaper with a T-tag under the new toll rate structure. Effective August 23, there will be some changes to the toll rates at the Portmore, Spanish Town, Vineyards, and Maypen toll plazas. But don't worry, with a T-tag, all Class 1 and Class 2 customers will enjoy discounted rates for every single passage. Plus, your 10th weekly trip through the same toll plaza is free. Visit Transjan Highway